just an opinion. This is a fact that the board has owned immigrants, period.
Okay. Kevin, can you continue? Thank you.
By the way, I wanted to thank you for your comment, and I see what you're saying there about lack of outreach and getting the programs to the public wants. We do have an item on the agenda. I've repeatedly said I would love to work with people to bring the types of programs that you want. It is kind of a slow process. There's no way around that. There's staffing, funding, and some other items that need to be brought into that. We want to find out which times people want.
Well, the first step is communication.
I agree with you.
That's not been done.
I completely agree
A
with you.
stamp is 50 cents.
But there is one caveat there, which is the
That's not your fault, that's their
I'd like to make sure it's free.
which is the 6 to 8 p.m. spot is not a very good time spot, in generally speaking. And during the winter, it would not be used. So that the revenue that we
It's
get
used
from
at
that
Fremont.
program, they were at Fremont before they came here.
No, but.
And
Fremont has those hours.
Black
adults
Swim is
now.
done at Fremont.
I understand, and if that turns out that that is the time that people want, then that's something that the board can decide if they want to have a program at that time. But-
The structural logical problem is you have a board composition that doesn't represent the community. That is causing the issue of not creating the engagement. You do not have a communications plan that then creates a dialogue with the community so that they can kind of engage and give you the feedback.
Right.
You're also overstaffed by all standards,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
When you look at the budget versus other places, and when you compare swim programs across all the peninsula cities, you can easily do this calculation in like a day and figure out, hey, why are our programs set up this way? What's open to us and what's not open to us? If you do that, take the time to do it, you'll see what the discrepancy is. That's why people are here, right? And then the level of trust here, the animosity between all you guys is a different problem, but the level of trust is not coming to us either, right? Especially if you have someone that doesn't live here that's working, and then you've got people that, you've got a cash business that's not accounted for, people get really nervous, right?
Yeah.
And it's just a pool, but we're all here because we're worried about it.
So I would actually, if you don't mind, I'd like to contact you outside so I can actually explain a lot of those issues with you. And
Well, I'm good, I'm just here to try to hope you guys get better, that's all.
you
Well,
know,
we was hoping to
we've
help
looked
you.
at the Livermore.
Can't solve problems by having.
It's
It's
not
not having James talk about the board
It needs to
getting
be
back.
open. It needs
Yeah,
to
it
be
needs to
open.
be, needs to be open, or just keep looking shady.
So
Answer my question, why wouldn't
And you have
you
to
just
come more
pass
often.
on the baton?
You have to
Oh, I
come more
will.
often to follow.
You've done
I
so
will.
good,
Thank
you've taken care of that for so long, why won't you just pass on the
So
baton?
there is an item 6A, and this is one of the attempts to try to fix the communication, the obvious
Where's
communication
6A?
problem that
It's right
exists
here.
between the people and us, of course, the
Oh,
board
okay,
and
that's me.
staff.
There is a complete lack of trust is very bad.
And I completely understand. So part of that, I think, which we'll be discussing later on, would be a first step to try to address that. So if possible, maybe we could wait until that item, if that's all right.
Okay, so next.
So I'm sorry, we're still in Oasis Swim School, right? So you said that they have off-peak times during the summer.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Okay. And what is considered off-peak?
That would be weekend evenings.
In summer.
But that's when people could rent the pool for a private event.
Yeah.
That's not off.
Yeah,
peak,
that
that's
doesn't make
peak.
any sense.
You
Right.
can do a birthday party, you can rent it out for a reception,
That
you
should
can do a party
not
for the community,
ever
a
take the,
neighborhood
no.
piece, you know?
So what we found, what the data bears out is that the rentals throughout the year have not gone down, even with Oasis. That's a data I'd be happy to share if that's what the board would like at the
And
next
that's a
meeting.
function of your rent rate and your function of the contract and function of who knows about this.
Exactly.
That is true.
Oh, I can rent the pool, oh my gosh.
We can't use it if we don't know about it.
You
Right.
guys need to take classes on outreach or something.
Lifeguards.
This is not.
It's on the agenda.
Is there any way we can get the Oasis website on the screen? Because I'm curious to see what their hours are.
Yeah, it's right there.
It does say evenings on Saturdays.
It does
But-
say-
In the
But what about on
subtext, it's not
Saturday,
right.
though? Is
I would
it-
not count it. Count it off
OasisSwimmingSchool.com. if you're pulling up.
Summer, they shouldn't be in here.
So in the summertime, is it also on the,
You sure it's for summer? Because they can't have that, even if it's on their website, they're not gonna be able to get that, so, I mean,
Why did they
3 to
leave
7
Fremont?
on Saturdays
I don't know, you'd have to ask them.
and 6 to 8.
so I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. It was,
You read it out loud so you can put it into the
oh,
records.
okay, so,
You said weekend 6 to 8, right? Yeah, that's the time that they'll be in there.
okay, so it says Saturdays.
Look at the dates though. There's dates by the end of the
Okay.
month.
So Saturdays, it'll be 3 to 7,
From
In the
May
summer?
to.
from April 27th to May 25th. And then Saturdays, okay, so I'll just Here, so Saturdays, this is 2019, so from January 26th to April 20th, 2019, they have 1:30 to 5:30 on Saturdays.
Just say estimated.
Yeah, but it says estimated, yeah, for summer, these are the summer. So it says Saturdays, 3 to 7 estimated, and that is from April 27th to May 25th. And then it says 6 to 8 estimated, June 1st to August 17th, and that's Saturdays and Sundays.
Okay, so
So,
that makes
So
okay.
what you're seeing there is you're seeing public swim creeping in. So during the winter, when there's nothing happening during the weekend, you don't have public swim. That's when they do 1 to 5, which I agree is peak time. Then what happens is starting in May, we actually extended our public swim hours into May and into September, which we didn't do before. And that's when they bumped up to that 3 or 4 to 7. Anyway, there's like a kind of a semi-off
What
peak
hourly
time.
rate are they paying?
So what they're doing is I believe it's, in total, it's 80 an hour, plus they have, what's it called?
an hour, that's it?
Correct, yes.
Around the whole.
Yes, yeah. Anyone, so for them, they have a recurring rental agreement and they have an insurance
Do they
requirement.
cover their own liability?
Yes, yeah. So
Just
that's
like the scuba
just like
divers
the
do.
scuba does. It's not different from them.
Except the scuba diver doesn't have a key to the office in the rental hall.
I mean, he would have a key being an employee.
So there's.
Doesn't use the computer.
This address, huh?
Doesn't use our
So
office.
if you had a business that rented a facility, one might expect that they would use that facility's address as theirs. I'm not sure how it would be
So
different.
Does the
People would know where
scuba
to go.
diving people have a key to the office?
They do not,
Well, the swim school guy does.
because
And
he's an
he-
employee.
Because I was here one time and I wanted some copies of something and I couldn't get them because they weren't available. But his wife and he both had access to the office in the inner office, which used to be locked. And they were looking through everything.
I believe they were trying to help you out,
And
Sandy.
she was in the rental hall. One time she had a bunch of people in the rental hall. So I don't think the scuba diving people have that privilege.
So just so you know, that particular incident in question, Jay was in the water. He had given one of the other people the key to open for you. So.
So that's, shouldn't be allowed. He's just renting.
I'm
okay,
confused. I thought board members had keys to the pool.
they
Yeah,
do.
how come he can use a key when he's running his own business here as a renter?
Well, he has. his
How
key, but
many
he wasn't-
other people have access to the office as renters? I want to know.
He doesn't have access to the office as a
Yes, he
renter.
does,
He has
because
access as an employee.
Well, he wasn't here see, this is where the conflict and the things kind of go. He was here as a renter. He was wearing his renter hat. He wasn't wearing his employee hat. And he has a key and he uses the office when he's a renter. I've seen it.
So I can ask.
And
him
I
not to
didn't even
open an
know there
office
was a
for you
s-
in the future, if that's what you'd like.
You know when I learned that there was an Oasis swim school here in July, and I learned it from the office manager. Because I said, what's going on here? He said, oh, that's Jay's swim school. I said, what? And then I had to find out from a parent who was going to the school.
Sure, it's in the minutes.
And I said, what is the school? And she said, oh, this is the Oasis Swim School. I thought, oh, okay. I'm a board member. I don't know this stuff. How come?
Why not?
So.
You should.
Oh,
because you-
yeah, I should because it should
Because
have been part of a meeting.
it was. and
Oh,
we
yeah, well,
voted on it.
show me in the meeting.
I'm pretty
Show
sure
me
it's-
the minutes.
I believe, if I remember correctly, it should be in January of 2016 minutes.
We voted
All
on
right,
it. And you
well,
were here.
produce it.
So when did he actually start renting the pool, and when did he actually start becoming an employee?
So January, I believe 2016 was when he began renting the pool.
Okay.
Then he became a part-time coach during, I believe, May or June
Of
of
2016.
2016.
So he wasn't a full-time employee
He was
yet
not, no.
until,
A couple months later, when the board approved his employment
Yes.
Yeah, as a program manager to
Yeah.
our programs
as
to
a
our
head
pool.
coach, in
No.
fact.
That's how it was presented to me.
No,
I
As
don't
a
know
head
what
coach.
was.
you were at the same
Okay,
presentation I
okay.
was at. You just
Yeah.
didn't understand it.
Oh, yeah, I'm senile now. Yeah,
I
No one
didn't
said
say
that.
that.
I'm senile.
so,
Like the person that you were bringing to the meetings to second your motions. That's the senile person. I felt bad for her. She was being schlepped down here to do his bidding, and Hilly's laughing at her because she would say these ridiculous things as a board member. She shouldn't even have been on the board. And then Steve unilaterally told her not to file. So maybe that's a good thing, but I saw his car parked after a meeting one time, and that's when I heard that she was no longer going to be on the board because he asked her not to be.
I did not.
And then for the November meeting,
So, can I
they
just
did
stop
not
you for a
know
second?
because I'm not finished.
This doesn't have anything to do with Oasis.
Yeah,
though.
actually,
yeah.
And also,
Which is the
and also,
subject.
it's off subject, and also when you
Well,
make
if I'm
statements like
senile, we're
this,
talking about senile.
You create the need for the other board members and for Kevin to provide information, more additional information to clarify, and it's going to make the board meeting go on very, very long.
Don't suggest that I'm senile then.
So if we
No one
could,
did.
if we could,
Yeah, we did.
Actually, I just had one more thing
Sure,
about
sure, yeah.
the Oasis Swim School. So, so the Oasis Swim School, he was a renter before he got hired,
Yes.
and then he became the head coach and then the program
He became
manager.
a part-time coach first.
Okay,
And then after that, after, a period of time where we were watching performance and whatnot, then came to the board, it's in the minutes, he was approved as a head coach. And then he was, I believe, he came back, I believe in September of that year when he started as head coach. It's only been very recently where he started to take on the additional role.
as a program manager.
Correct.
So who had the position of program manager before he was hired?
Maya. Yeah. So Maya went to school and then we shifted. It was always the intention to at some point kind of shift it to him. But of course, when she was here, there was no need to.
And then Maya took
Okay.
full-time employment with another firm
Correct.
Okay,
and left us.
So you always had a program manager before?
Yeah, it was just-
It wasn't a new thing?
The problem with the program manager is that we're relying on generally high school students. And so they turn over very quickly. It's very difficult to keep a steady program when you have people shifting out every few years. There's a period of adjustment, and then after that they get good and then they're gone. And so the intention is to have, a stable base where we can build off of, where everything else changes, but these people remain the same.
Then you should go for people who want this job, because a lot of people that I talked to, when I started kind of polling about a year ago, people say, wow, you make that much money? I want that job. So people want this job. You're just not going to the people, like people that are on sabbatical with these other cabanas like ours that is closed 6 months out of the year. These people would probably love to have a job here.
If I can't make a point of inquiry because I'm not sitting with you guys, but I think the point is you guys have to determine, if your staffing levels are too high or too low, and you have to figure out your salary ranges are.
Can you keep your voice up because it's going?
So this is the Oasis Swim School item. Did you have any other questions?
I think I'm okay for now, thanks.
And if anyone has any questions, I'm happy to answer any offline. My card's right here, so please.
No, I just want to know, why can't you do the program manager's job?
There's too much work.
Okay.
It's too much for one person.
And it's not on the agenda right now either.
Thank you.
So, really, we're trying to keep the
So
meeting
who
going.
does Oasis Swim School?
I know, but we're just trying to keep the meeting going.
I hope so. I hope so.
I'm not trying to shut you up. I know you need All right. answers, but Okay. moving on to emails.
Yes.
Number 6.
I have emails here where I was sort of being targeted, which they say I'm not. But Jay was talking about, and he addressed this to the 3-board majority. If you want me to read it, it's brief. Hi all. Oh, this was hello everyone. I am forwarding an email from Jay regarding some accusations that occurred at the board meeting last night. Have a great weekend. Best. Okay. Hi all. I want to thank you all about everything for the board meeting last night. Thank you, my manager, Kevin, and board members, Julie, Miriam, and Steve. Here, I just want to clarify something that Sandra stated during the meeting. She brought Coco up for entering the office. However, the reason behind it was Sandra stopped by to get some something, I can't even remember what it was. She recently asked for some files of the past board meeting, that's what it was. And that's why I gave my key to Coco and asked her to open the door for her. Sadly, she didn't tell the truth to the public. Like the parents said, Rancho is a family. I enjoy work here. I live in Fremont, spend my time travel to Mountain View to pick up swimmers, yada, yada, yada. Also, I spend my own time bringing the kids to the swimming meets and so on. We and CAPS are the Rancho family, all of them, not me.
Wait, I'm confused. So are we on Oasis Swim School or emails now?
Emails.
Okay,
This is
all
it.
right, okay.
I have passion and so on and so forth. Whenever the board and the manager make decision, I will follow it. Okay, and this was my answer. Okay? Am I being accused of lying? If I am, please tell me exactly what the lie is. The fact that you directed your warm thanks to Julie, Steve, and Miriam, but not to me, just proved my assertions that management and board majority are a united front. Coco did have access to the office by your own admission. She also had access to the rental hall on another cage when I was passing by. It's part of my daily walk. And having an LLC such as you do makes you a corporate-minded person. Kevin has also become quite the corporate man. He treats the district like his little domain, in my opinion. And for me, that is a problem as the lone objective voice on this board. If that is offensive to you, maybe you should ask yourself why. And my duty is to the people whose taxes support this place, not to you and Kevin. If the rest of you and the board want to be friends, that's fine, count me out. And I did not urgently ask for files. I watched the swimmers for about a half hour. My question was that if you are a non-employee on Saturday, just like any other renter, why do you and your wife have access to the office and rental hall? Do all renters have that access? Just asking. And please don't email me. If you have concerns, bring them to the board meeting. And since the question of bullying came up briefly at the meeting, I feel like I'm being bullied by the United Front. So stop it.
So Coco, it works for Oasis.
She's the board president or something of
Okay.
their little corporation.
So Coco runs Oasis. Jay teaches swim lessons during Oasis.
And they're married.
They're married, correct.
And they have the key to the office.
Jay has a key to the whole facility as an employee. During the day in question, sounds like Sandy came here to ask for access to the office. Jay was in the water. He provided the key to Coco. She opened the office for Sandy. If that is not okay, then I can ask him not to open the office for you in the future.
Not to use the key as a renter.
Or as a renter.
Right.
Yeah.
And that probably should be, it's for his own safety.
And to take his name off our ad.
But then again, none of them should have a key to get in ever. They don't need to be in here. You need to change the locks and get a new code. I'm sorry.
I don't have a key and I'm a board member. I did not know that other board members had keys.
You know what, I got a key a week ago or 2 weeks ago. And when I asked him for a key, he stonewalls me and says, oh, you'll have to ask Sonny for the key. Why couldn't he give me a key?
I've seen
That's
swim
fine.
4 hours
The key is,
alone in the pool every single day for many, many years. And he has the key and he travels alone and he's here for hours every day. I didn't even know that was not allowed.
Can the volunteers get free swim? I mean, can the residents just start getting free swim because like,
Should I
we
answer?
pay so much.
You'd like to? Yeah, you can respond.
So,
Excuse me, I need to make a copy.
to answer your question, Sandra has had a key to the facility, a master key, since she's been on the board 25 years ago.
Since the new one.
I don't think we care. None of you should have a key.
The
I don't trust you.
reason we have keys is so if we see a safety issue, we can act on it.
Well, you should take yourself out of the pool.
Yeah.
That was the
That's-
safety issue, Steve.
That's, that's an interesting point of view because you bring up a point.
There was
other-
not a lifeguard
Also,
on
during
duty. You do
summer,
not go in the pool
swim
without a lifeguard,
hours.
I don't care who you are.
Can you respond to that?
There are
Why did you
times
let
when
the pool
people
by yourself?
work on the pool without other people present.
They're not
They clean the
swimming.
pool.
That's
Or
what's
they
the
do other
liabilities for the pool. Like, do they require a lifeguard present at all times, or can you swim on your own at your own risk?
If you rent the pool, you have to have a lifeguard, if you're letting your patrons be in the pool, your guests.
Steve, can you acknowledge that?
No, actually, if
we
you're
are
a renter
witnesses,
and you
we're
are a certified lifeguard, you
Are
don't
you
have to have a
certified
lifeguard.
lifeguard?
No,
Okay, so you can't save yourself. You can't be in the pool, Steve.
if there's a problem with that, there's never been one in the past.
I never knew that
Well,
this
that's
was.
the other part I want to address about the things you said, that is germane. Years ago, there was a newsletter passed out into everybody's house.
Like what year are you talking
We're
about?
talking about the 80s, the 90s, the
Right,
zeros.
Right.
I never got any I moved here in
I never got
2004, I
any.
never got a
However-
newsletter.
Pat was generally the person who distributed it. In the last 15 years, she hasn't. Since then, there's something called the internet, and so we have an internet presence now that was supposed to replace that. However, I've been asked a lot of questions, and some of them are, why am I still on the board after 26 years? Because nobody else wanted to run it.
Because nobody
Because
knew.
we did every time we had an opening. The 6 openings we've had since I've been on the board.
Steve, this is Steve.
We asked
Steve,
around everybody.
this is not on the
You
agenda.
ask around, you sent a
Steve?
flyer.
And we posted.
There are open,
Wow.
there is an
Can we
open
move on to the
hours.
agenda?
Insert in
Oh,
the
that's right,
status
we're off the
Hey, just
agenda.
stay out of the pool, okay?
We're
Stay
off
out.
the agenda, I'm sorry.
If I see it again, I'm gonna call the sheriff.
Okay,
Oh, I mean,
will somebody let them in?
yeah.
Is there anything else on the emails that need to be discussed? Would you wait till she gets back?
Like, I just wanna use the pool, can I get a key?
I don't have a key. I didn't know. Am I supposed to have a key?
Don't
I
give
don't
a
know.
key, Sophia, so
Okay.
talk about it.
I just have a
Okay.
key. You want
All
a
right.
key,
No,
get
it's
a
okay.
key. We'll be leaving.
Oh, so we need to put that on the agenda.
All right.
Are we done with that agenda?
I'm not
Moving
really
on to the
clear.
next
We
part.
seem to be.
I think he owes a bunch of rental fees, back rental fees. There's nothing in the election material that says pool board members get to use the pool for free. So if nothing else, he owes all that back.
I apologize, but I'm just kind of a group dynamics guy. Somewhere along the way, as a board, you guys have to figure out how you want to proceed to incorporate the comments here and the input here and into this process, because otherwise you're gonna end up with a mob rule over here. The problem is, no one trusts you over there, which is part of the problem, which is why you're having this kind of dynamic, and your county council doesn't usually operate in this manner, so I know what you're up to, so you're probably frustrated. But my point being is that there's a lot of input here that needs to be put into here, and there's a lot of accountability on your end that's not transparent to us, that needs to be exposed. And there's a lot of conflicts of interest that seem that we're okay when you guys are doing this, but you're going to have to separate all those, and as a board, you need to do that. I really encourage you guys to appoint someone very quickly from anywhere here, but with the understanding that you guys have to operate within a process and policy. If you don't operate with a process and policy that's transparent, it becomes a dictatorship, nobody understands why it happened. All this stuff in the past is probably gonna be coming back up as an example for something, but you really need a good set of policies and procedures, and hopefully your county council will help you with that, because right now it looks really
Yeah,
bad.
the only thing is, are you providing copies of the emails to certain members of the
No,
public?
I'm not.
Okay, all right, I just want to make sure, because we need to make it as part of the record.
I'm
Okay.
gladly make it part of the
I
record.
mean, you can admit it
It's
to
all
the
on
record,
next door, it's all on next.
How do I do that? How do I make it part of the
give it to the
record?
That's right,
secretary, which
good.
really shouldn't be him, to be admitted to the
You know,
minutes. and then she'll take it.
just so you know,
The board
there's a
members
question.
also attend
Last time, the
house.
question of why Kevin is the secretary was asked, and the answer is that there's no one else, usually, there's no one else. They don't have a staff member who's a secretary. One of them would not be appropriate. They don't want to pay for anyone, so they have Kevin do it. They could change that, if that makes you feel more comfortable. I mean, if it makes the board, but.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I think if someone could,
Yeah,
yes,
we'd
we
like that.
hire someone,
You're gonna hire someone?
we could,
Oh,
It's
we
not on
get
the
a-
agenda today either, so.
If we get a new board member, maybe the new board member would be able to do that.
No, it's.
As a
it's-
secretary.
Wait, aren't they?
We have a secretary.
I think they for a lawyer, but no secretary.
There is,
I'm
there is,
still-
but it's
I'm not here
just sort of a
full-time.
formality.
This is-
There's a
usually not here.
president, a vice president, and a secretary.
you wish you were on vacation still, huh?
I said I'm not usually here. I said I'm not usually here. Anyway, so we move on.
Yeah. So we've concluded Oasis numbers, or concluded emails. Now, number 7, the space project.
The space project. The space project has been going on for a year and a half. And I've gotten different information about it. Steve said that the city was holding it up and they weren't. And I have the information that we discussed this thing before. The
They held it up
inspection,
several times,
the
actually.
inspection was passed on 10/18. Okay? And I think he hired an architect, I'm not sure. I don't have records for that. The interstate sign permit work was supposed to start on 8/17. Okay, this is the genesis. First inspection was 6/18, and the revision was the same day approval. Okay, Steve suggested that the building department gave different answers to different, depending on who was in the building department, they would give you their opinion. Like, that sounded very strange to me. Anyway, Kevin so far
It is.
has spent, and there's nothing out there. There's nothing out there. I've asked him for documents, which I think he has, for 2 months. It took me, I've got emails back and forth.
In your,
How come you got them and I don't?
because they're in your
I didn't
agenda
get a
for today,
packet.
in the back.
Okay, I didn't get a packet. I'm using Julie's.
It's in the
Okay.
binder in front of you.
Okay. He spent about $4,000 so far. He's got 6 poles and some cement and a yellow tape. This is a year and a half, folks. And it's the city's problem. And it's not the city's problem, it's his problem. And I don't know what his problem is. But I said we could get a shed, which would have, maybe for $1,000, you could get the most wonderful shed there is. And he says, oh, we have to get a permit for that. And that's not true. Because if we got something under 120 square feet, there would be no permit unless you had it hooked up to utilities. So that was just another big fiasco. And if you want to look in the back of the folder, which I didn't get.
It's under your
I don't
stuff.
have a thing. This is, it took forever. I kept getting Stonewall. Oh, you can have them Tuesday. Oh, well, we don't have them. We have them mixed up. But anyway, here, this is a project, folks. In the back of this agenda, with the salary review and the general manager's position, space project review. This is something that could have been settled in a week. We get a shed and we stick it out there to replace the other one. And his excuse for that was, oh no, we can't get to that soon enough because of the boards, the backboards. All you do is you bring that equipment out when the pool is open and you put it back when it's not. And it's got all kinds of things here. You need a roof on it, a steel roof, and it's been languishing for a year and a half. Why can't, people get projects done, people get their house built in this neighborhood, and believe me, I live here, so I've watched them go up in a year, if you want. And the city council guy is here, he may know something about that. But anyway, this is just ridiculous. And I don't know who the architect, I don't know why we needed an architect, but this went on and on and on at meetings forever.
Since we're not a residential zone space we're sitting in.
That's not
It's
true.
It's true. We are not residential. If you check the permitting issues on page 4 of the handout in the back, you'll find out this is a special kind of category, and they put additional demands on us. They don't put it onto remodeling residential or commercial properties. We don't qualify as either. So
It was all approved, right here.
it's approved as far as it was approved. However, then the city said, oh, they changed their mind in terms of, no, we don't approve your roof, so now you have to apply for a roof. That's my understanding. It's been an ongoing process.
See, that's why we
And
didn't need to
while-
do this.
What is the purpose of this project?
Oh, who knows?
To
store
actually, you
lifeguard
probably answer
equipment,
better than I can.
which a shed would have
It's more than
sufficed.
just a shed, if you look at all the
Yeah,
projects that are in there.
But we don't need more than a shed,
Well, no,
because a
it
shed
includes many
sufficed for the
projects.
last 20
Hear
years.
Kevin say what the purpose
It means rehabbing the space to meet our needs of today versus the needs of the last time we were
Oh,
remodeling.
come on.
All right, I was hoping to avoid
Backboards and-
this, but
Oh, sorry.
I will do it. So. Okay, space project. I know the name sounds silly. It wasn't initially called this. I don't think it was initially called. Basically what happened is to know why there was this need, you have to understand where we came from. In FY 2013, we were in a big deficit and our program was 2.5 months long. What we did over the next year was we increased our programs to be 8 months long. And we went from $120,000 deficit to almost $200,000 of net income. What we quickly realized was that the net effect of doing this and increasing our programs is that we were bursting at the seams, particularly in the summer. And if you've ever seen the guard room before, that wall came down, it's like this 15 by 15, and you have 15 swim instructors in there trying to get ready. It was complete chaos. Our office to this day is sometimes it's a madhouse. And so we came up with a plan to increase the amount of space that we have in the short term. In the medium term, we had some other priorities, and I'm gonna save my voice and not go over them. But if you'd like, I can talk to any of you guys anytime about those priorities. The original project was to get an awning. We only have one door for the office. And so people, all of our 12 employees who come in at the same time to teach swim lessons have to come in and clock in the office, going through the same door that we're doing business over. So we needed to have some kind of a service window. We needed to take down the wall between the guard room and the supply closet. And we were hoping to increase the back of the office, get a little bit more floor space for storage and for some, to do work with a little bit more privacy. It's quite loud in the office. This is from the architect who's coordinating all of this. This is from the city. And apparently we're in what's called a DQ zone. We need a use permit. Cost of that is roughly $18,500 without any guarantee that we would get that back space. And so as a result, we decided to change our plans a little bit. We're still gonna do the office, we're still gonna do the guard room, but because we can't get the back office, we needed more space. We need to move things around. So we created the shed part of it, and the shed would be where we store wet items. And this is a good idea because our guard room is consistently wet and people slip on it. It's not a good situation. We put a fan out there and there's guard tubes, and someone grabbed the guard tube to go out, they lifted it and it hit the fan. We need to get that stuff out. So this is a initial drawing of the office. We wanted to use our space more efficiently, and that's how we're gonna do it instead.
So actually, can you go back to the drawing there?
Yeah.
So I'm confused. So are those desks?
They are.
Okay.
So this is the office project summary. You can see that we hired a consultant to help us with it. I am very good with recreation. I'm not good with office design. So we hired someone to help us out with that at cost. The first thing we did was we put that service window in, and that provided a lot of relief. That allowed us to do business through the service window while our employees come in and out to clock in and whatnot. We took the opportunity to repaint. It excludes labor because our own people did it and we didn't keep track of the number of hours used. And then we installed window shades to open the office up so you can see through them as well. And then we spent this much on furniture. For the furniture, the next page has.
Question, what's a service window?
It's the
Where
front,
you
but
could go
it's
up
like,
and pay through the
Yeah,
window, so
it's a little flat surface.
And that shelf wasn't there very long ago.
So is it the one that's the service window, the
Yeah.
door that's inside or the one that's
Outside.
outside?
Outside.
Okay.
So this is the furniture that we got, because obviously that's a big line item. This updated our 1980s style furniture, which is not ergonomic to provide office furniture. You can see, these are all the payments. Very first thing we did was get that service window. And it took kind of a while to get the last couple of pieces because the office space is so small, we can't change anything. It was very important that the office furniture fits it exactly. Otherwise, we're losing space. And
you also staged it so that as the furniture turned over, and they took some time to examine, now, what do we really need now? We know we need these desks,
Yeah.
but everything beyond that they knew they needed, they looked at a long time to make sure they got stuff, because we don't want to buy it a second time.
Kevin's capable of making his own presentation
I'm
without
trying to say
your
this
input.
voice, I'm sorry.
So the furniture was made to be collaborative because we have a lot of collaboration with our workers. And of course, it came with a lot of changes that you don't see here. So for example, we got a new point of sale system, and getting one of those, you have to plan it, set it up, then you have to do your training sessions. You got to make sure it works with your accounting. Again, our accounting system, we redid that before. In 2012, we didn't know necessarily if you made a payment, where that came from. Now we do. So there was a lot of changes. We updated, we went kind of to a hybrid paperless system so that we could save space. We moved old files out. We started what's it called? A retention schedule so we could reduce the amount of paper that we kept, things like that. So these costs are just part of the space project. This is just the kind you have to approve. For the guardroom, it's, again, this one was a little bit more because we had to take down the wall. And being a B2 zone, it was a little bit difficult to secure those permits.
Question, so this is actually a completed
Yes.
completed project?
Yes,
It's, okay, and all this as a whole is the space project?
Yes.
Right.
Okay,
I realize the name is a little funny.
okay.
All of you
okay.
should visit the office and see what you paid $21,000 for.
So this is the guardroom.
Okay,
I
so-
invite you.
So the space project is basically, so you guys had storage and then made it a more open space
Correct.
because it was too small?
Yes.
Okay,
For the guardroom, again, we took down the walls, so you have to redo the floor, the ceiling, all that good stuff. We also put some shades on the windows so that the guards could see out of it as well. While it's closed, it was pretty good. And of course, we got some furniture to put in there, which is, of course, suitable for water and high use. Again, here's the breakdown, which you can inspect. I believe it's in all of your agenda packets. And now on to the shed project. This one took a long time. And it's not quite there. Again, we have our consultant who's practically worked for less than minimum wage at this point. The permitting fees took quite a while. And part of the issue, again, was the zoning, and we made an addendum to the permit, but also that the city required stamped engineer drawings. So this took a little bit more time than you might expect. And yes, the permits did get approved, and then there's an addendum, and then there's a process you have to go through. And so now we're waiting on our construction people who are notoriously busy and difficult. So.
We could have had a shed for less than this.
If we could have had a shed, that's what we would have done, but we could.
Yeah, but you could have.
We had one and it got destroyed by the
So
water.
after 20 years, yeah.
No, it was destroyed 10 years
Oh,
before.
come
So
on.
part of the
Why wouldn't you
reason the
replace
old
it
shed,
then then?
It had a wood floor which rotted through. The positioning of the doorway was also right in the walkway, so it was unsuitable for what we're trying to use it
After
for,
20 years.
which is for wet items. It needs to have a lot of air flow. We're also storing things like wetsuits, which need to be outside of the sun. So that necessitates both open air, but also roof. Then there's miscellaneous costs. Obviously, a lot of blueprints, moving boxes, and then we converted our electrical room. We put storage, and we had to brace it to the wall so that we could put all of our supplies and janitorial there. And we did a lot of other work moving things around the facility. That's the space project. Part of it is the cost, but a lot of that work is back office work, which frankly, the public doesn't see.
Okay, and when you did the shades for your office, why didn't you do them for here?
Because that was next on the agenda.
No, it wasn't. It's been 2 years I've been talking about this. 2 years. So why didn't you include your person when they were here to just do the, to do the
Do
hall?
that without the board.
This is all ripped to crap. It's been looking horrible. You don't, this is my own opinion. I don't think you really cared. You were more interested in, excuse me,
No, excuse me,
doing
but
your
that's really,
This is an
that's really-
evaluation.
Yeah, that's more, if you're gonna criticize him publicly like
I
that,
think that's.
let's do it in a closed session. You can talk about your concerns with his
I'm
performance.
not going to any more
So-
closed sessions.
So I actually have a question. So what is not completed with the space project? So some of it is completed, but what is not? Just the shed?
Yeah, so the shed is the last part of the project. So what's gonna need to, sorry, let me go back one.
Has the city signed off on everything for it yet?
Yeah,
Are
we're
they
good.
still-
We're waiting on the construction company now. We hit the holidays, so they just, yeah.
For a year and a half.
So what we're gonna do is, at this point, once the rest of the shed gets completed, then we're gonna move the items we want into the shed. We'll kind of see what the general use patterns are before we get the furniture. So it's gonna be a little bit not ideal. Maybe our wetsuits will be on kind of a temporary sort of rack. And we'll move it around till we find out what works best for us. Then we'll purchase the rest of the furniture. Thank goodness we're gonna move those guard sheets out and we'll have to replace the fan since that got destroyed. And then there's just some very small movements that will have to happen with files and other things. But yeah, this is the last part.
So the shed, I'm confused because it could have been a shed.
It could have been a
But
shed
it
for
says-
under 1,000.
So this is a shed. So this is actually a custom made
Correct.
thing.
It's very
Okay.
elaborate.
The
And
initial
it took an
plan.
architect and a consultant and he,
But that's required by the city. I've been through the building process of the
Okay.
city. They require it, there's nothing you can do.
but they could
It
have had a
sounds well
shed.
permitted. Actually,
He
I'm
made
gonna
it really-
compliment you. It sounds like this was well thought out.
Thank you.
Whoa,
I was stressing him.
thank you.
All right.
I think it's great.
Okay.
All right. Space project,
I
we're
think we
done?
just did that.
Okay, so moving on to 8, membership reviews.
Can you need a motion for this?
Okay, so, yeah, you wanna make a motion?
I'll move to approve paying these memberships in these organizations that serve our needs.
I had a question. So what
Let's
are,
get a second and then we can discuss.
You can't discuss it until we get a second, usually.
I'll second it. Go ahead.
so I know that like the California Special District Association had some training stuff. What is the benefit of having the California Association of Recreation and Park Districts
Right.
membership?
So the CSDA is a California-wide association with all the districts in it.
Right, I saw that online, yeah,
Right.
and they do the like you can do like the ethics training and
All
everything
kinds
like
of
that,
stuff.
right?
And they provide very
Right.
robust support in Sacramento, as well as, like you said, the training.
Mm-hmm.
The California Association of Recreation and Park Districts is much smaller, but it's focused directly on recreation districts, of which we are.
Okay,
So
108.
they
I
do
see.
something very similar, but the benefit might be that, you have.
it's more specialized.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
all right.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Do you need both? What do you get for your money?
So there's training as well as they have legislative outreach in Sacramento. So part of it is things that you don't really see, but what happens in the legislature is a lot of times they'll pass things that adversely affect special districts. So that outreach is very important, even though it's not something that's so tangible that you can see.
It also has a forum,
Yes.
so
Oh, yeah.
district managers can ask questions about how they do certain procedures, do they have certain forms, how do they do this? So it adds a lot for knowledge and.
You can do that
Spend
online.
$2,000 so that they can talk to other district managers, but you won't spend money. to
No,
send them.
not just the street managers. I get the emails and people have a question. They say,
Sorry, I
we
missed
need
that.
to do I'm sorry. We need to do, for instance, somebody posts on the email list for CSDA saying, we need to do sexual harassment training. Who offers it? And they
Right.
get 5 responses. Or we need to do a permit for a shed like ours. Has anybody ever had to do that? Oh, yeah, we have. And here's what you ran into.
They also have insurance agencies too that deal with. So this one in particular,
Group insurance.
yeah, they have something called Capri, which would be insurance that's directly related to park districts. So that upon joining, you would gain access to that kind
Is
of.
that who yours is through?
No, because we're not part of this program. So it's right now we are members of A and B, but not C.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. The reason why C is on there is I believe it's actually in our policy.
Yeah, I saw that.
So I think we're supposed to be a part of that.
I had a question too about the Cupertino Chamber of Commerce. It says $225 a year and $180 meeting costs. What does that mean?
So there's a legislative action committee, which is tomorrow, as luck would have it. Steve Scharf, Councilman Scharf is going to be, Councilperson Scharf is going to be there tomorrow as a speaker. Oh, Mayor Scharf, there we go, thank you. He's going to be doing a presentation there tomorrow. But the purpose of the Chamber of Commerce Legislative Action Committee is for small businesses especially, it's really good because we can get a feel for what's going on in the city. So for example, there was a minimum wage ordinance that was passed 3 months before it took effect. And we would have been caught high and dry if I didn't know it was coming. And so that type of information and also contact with city staff is very helpful in planning how things are going to go in the next few years.
So you actually have to pay to be a part of that.
Yeah, I think so, but I think I've seen also guests attend that meeting. I'm not too sure. But either way, we also have do our summer camp fair through their camp fair. I believe it's in February. So there's benefits to membership to a small business organization centered in Cupertino.
We're not a small business, we're a nonprofit. And when I looked on the Chamber of Commerce, what they do for nonprofit was like educational, something educational. They don't, I think,
We're a small business.
I have been
too.
against this membership in the Chamber of Commerce and him spending a lot of time. And I don't know, what is this $180 a meeting cost? What is that?
So that's for the Legislative Action Committee. You don't.
Why are you on the legislative board?
I'm
why
not
are
on
you
the
on
board. I just attend the meeting
Why?
for information.
You can get information for less than $180. You can go online and get all kinds of information. It's a schmooze.
All right. Have we had a discussion then? Can we call the question? All in favor?
What do we have
Like
a
against?
discussion on now?
So,
What are we having a discussion on?
I thought it was for the membership, to pay the membership fees.
Yeah,
That's
we're
how I
Well,
saw
I'm
it.
not for that. I
Okay.
vote no.
you vote no. How are you?
I'll abstain from voting.
Okay,
Well-
so what happens then? Does it fail? Do we withdraw from all the organizations?
Oh, you need 3 people.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, I see. So
It's a
either
big
way,
waste of
it's up to
money for
you.
him to
However,
be on the
we-
legislative board
Pull out
at
or
the
we
Chamber of
don't?
Commerce.
Let me make one remark real quick. Before we decide to leave CSDA, the benefits we get from it are worth the cost. But without their whole website in front of me, it would be hard for me to justify that to anybody. Cupertino Chamber of Commerce has kept us appraised of what's happening in the city that affects us directly, like the changes in the minimum wage.
That was common knowledge.
Well, but actually, see,
That's
the
common
reason,
knowledge that the minimum
Can I
wage
finish?
is gonna change.
The reason you belong to these organizations is it's the most efficient way to get the information you need to run
No,
a
it
business efficiently.
No, it isn't.
Excuse me,
No,
I'm
it isn't.
speaking.
I disagree.
You're allowed to disagree, but if you raise your hand first, it would be better. So anyway, what I was trying to say is that I certainly urge continued membership in CSDA. We could break it down into line items of yay and nay on all 3. Cupertino Chamber of Commerce, I think, has paid for itself for that minimum cost.
In what way?
California Association, I just said, Recreation and Park Districts, he's just explained the benefit of joining them.
Well, what benefit
And-
have we got?
And if we look at this as a total percentage of our annual budget, we're only talking about 2%, 3%, for the, it's not, anyway.
That's a big waste of money. I've been talking about this for 2 years. I think we should not be wasting our money on the Chamber of
Because the
Commerce.
training we get from CSDA
Oh,
alone
come
is
on.
worth the cost.
I actually,
What training goes on?
they actually have,
Chip in if they're using the pool most
So,
of the time.
So the training that we get, so for example, there's an ethics training that we're required to do.
sexual harassment too.
And
You
sexual
can do that
harassment.
online for $50.
So, and that's who
Through
it's
that
through.
organization.
That's who it's through. So the ethics training is free upon renewing your membership. The sexual harassment training is $50 for now. And of course,
For each person you have to run through.
right, but we have to do it regardless.
I've been doing it online.
No. Just
Well, you weren't paying.
officers and board.
I do it online.
It's a lot.
We have
Right,
two,
but we
we
do
do
it-
ethics and sexual harassment.
Right, but we
They're
do it-
both online.
We do it online through this, I believe,
Yes.
through this
Yes.
membership is what they're trying
You
to
have to be
say.
members.
And
So
But
you
we
have to
don't
be a-
have to do it through the membership.
They
We
also,
don't have to.
Organization.
they
Because
also provide
if
excellent.
you go online and look, you can
have to do
buy
it through a
these
certain- yeah,
things.
or
You guys
you could
like
pay
that?
for it.
So.
You can buy these things for less than $180 and $225, and for every meeting, we're spending $180. That's like once a month times 12. Come on.
So in
I-
addition to the legislative outreach that they provide and the training, they also do have conferences, which I think that having good training for both board and staff is really important.
I've never been trained from the,
So
I've
there's-
taken two things every 2 years, sexual harassment, it's yada, 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 for 2 hours. And the other one is 2 hours, and you go on, and most of this is common sense, that you wouldn't do these things that you were supposed to know
required.
not to
But
do.
I don't know how it's done, if we are giving the
Aside-
money to the.
It's a waste of money.
Aside from the required items, they also have conferences where board and staff can learn.
They
So, for
like to go to
example,
conferences.
There's a leadership academy, which is specifically for board, which trains the board on how to be a board member. You get to interact with other
How many
board
times have
members.
they been? Yeah, 26 years,
So,
how many times did they
in
train?
fact,
How long have you
once-
gone?
Mary-
Well, it hasn't been doing a lot of good, has it?
Miriam and Steve attended,
Really?
yes, and yes, they did.
You're not getting your money's worth.
And how much did that cost?
We'll have to
It's
look
the
in.
membership. Then you
That
have
was
to
like
go.
some five-star
How often do you
hotel.
need to
We
get
went
that
with Jordan
training?
because it was his idea.
Actually, we went because LAFCO suggested
An
that we
ex-member.
needed to get
Yeah,
some
and
kind of
it's
training.
very good, and I think that in many professions, people are provided with opportunities to learn and go to conferences. This is not
They
just,
usually pay for it themselves.
Yeah,
there's.
They usually pay for it. Believe me, I'm
Right.
a teacher. We pay for it ourselves.
So-
I was a nurse. We pay for it ourselves.
Yes, you
Well,
pay-
my
I- I
husband-
know
We
that
need to
you
spend
pay for your
extended
time.
time with Nancy over here to tell
In
them.
any
and
event,
I haven't seen a whole lot of leadership. I think when you're a leader, that's sort of an innate ability, that comes with what kind of person you are if you're a leader. You don't learn to be a leader. You might learn certain things, but you don't learn how to manage people. You don't learn that in a school. You are. And if you already are a leader personality, that may enhance it. But you don't learn to be a leader. You have to have some kind of something going on for you.
Okay, we're going to look at this individually, and we'll start with the CSDA, and we're gonna call for a vote on that, number A.
So,
Motion.
pardon me?
a motion.
A motion.
Motion,
Okay,
yeah,
well,
I'll
do you wanna
modify
make the
my
motion
motion.
for the, or second?
I'll vote on each of the three separately.
Okay,
Do we have
do
a
you want to
second?
second it?
Yeah, I'll make the motion. I mean, the California Special District Association, they do have forums, they do have information. I'm okay with that. Other two, I don't really have enough information to make a decision on. So I guess I make the motion to approve the CSDA.
Okay.
I second
You have
it.
a
I'll second it.
I did.
Oh, whatever.
Okay.
It's okay.
Okay, so all in favor of California Special District Association?
No, I'll say yes.
Okay.
Unanimous.
That was different.
Yeah,
I'll make a motion to approve the Cupertino Chamber of Commerce for the next year for a total of, it was like $405.
Um,
Because,
No, that's not $405.
yes, it is.
No, it's $180
$180 plus
meeting cost.
225 adds up to $405.
Is that
I
not
thought
every
you were a
meeting?
teacher.
It's not every meeting.
Okay.
I was a math teacher.
Isn't that what it is on an annualized
Okay,
basis?
I will second
That is
that.
so rude.
Wait, what she said?
Second that.
Isn't that what it is on an annualized
I
basis,
all the
Kevin?
way.
Yeah.
405 a
Wow,
year.
I thought you were the math teacher.
All right.
So
Okay.
rude.
Calling the question on Chamber of Commerce. Okay,
I vote no.
I vote no.
okay.
And I'll make a motion for the California Association of Recreation and Park Districts.
I'll second that. Calling the question on that. All in favor?
I vote no.
I vote no.
Okay. I need more information. So if someone wants to give me more information about this, I can look at it.
We could
Just add
revisit
it to the agenda
for
for
the next
another.
meeting.
Sure. And if you want to give me some links or anything, I can go through it before the next meeting.
Absolutely.
Okay.
That's,
I
sounds fair.
yeah, I just don't know. I've seen the California Special District Association site.
Yes.
They actually do have a lot of information.
They do.
I'm just not familiar with the other two,
Totally
so.
agree, yeah.
Here's another peanut gallery comment. I actually think the Chamber of Commerce is a good idea because you do get together with other people with businesses in the city. I wonder if you can kind of use them to help catapult your hiring of your, searching for people, like kids to work and stuff. Does the city of Cupertino put the pool's needs on their website for hiring in the summer or no?
The city of Cupertino,
If you go to the City of Cupertino website, you can see all the kids, kids can look on,
yes.
they need camp counselors, they need lifeguards. Is this included in that in any way?
The
Or would the Chamber of Commerce do that for you?
You can, but you have to pay.
Additional.
You have
You
to
have to pay the
yeah.
city?
No,
Chamber of Commerce.
Chamber of Commerce.
Okay.
It's an
So they
additional
do
fee.
have like a publication, but you have to
You should
pay.
be trying to see if maybe the city would let you add a little link on their website too. There's also lifeguard positions at this place.
Right,
Because
we-
it's all Cupertino kids.
We were in discussion very briefly with the former director of Parks and Recreation a while ago, and I met with some of their senior recreation supervisors a while ago about possibly coordinating our trainings. It kind of fell through, but that was something that we looked at briefly.
We can try again.
Yeah, well,
Hiring outreach would be smart.
yeah, but the problem is we would be competing with each other, so that it ended up not working out too well. Plus, if you have joint trainings, then there's some issues about,
Would you?
I have a question. In all these conferences and other boondoggle stuff people have been going to, or the Chamber of Commerce or the California Special Association, nobody ever brought community engagement.
Okay.
Talking to the voters, talking to the district that's supposed to serve, how can you do that? You all didn't have any personal ideas or they didn't give you any ideas, that never happened. Why? I mean, I'm just gobsmacked that there's like an insurrection going on here. People are really upset. You all need to do something about this. You can't be discussing Drake, with all due respect to you. You can't be discussing space projects. People are making really important questions, raising important questions, asking you pointed questions, and there's absolutely no response, no acknowledgement, no carving out of time to address them. That is like, that tells you so much about how concerned this board is about who they're supposed to be serving.
So I actually had a question about that because,
You want to wait till
Wait,
number
wait,
six?
oh, sure,
You wanna-
sure.
Okay.
so it's killing me, I'm so sorry.
New business, our independent audit report. Okay, well, we don't need to say anything about that. We
Yeah,
just need
I'm
to
sorry.
debate.
I believe I told you last meeting, Melanie, that the auditor was coming. He could not make it, but there's going to be a special meeting that we will attend.
How are we gonna know which of these dates it is?
We're going to decide right now.
So
Oh,
does
yeah.
anyone have a calendar? Because I do not know, or does anyone know what dates?
This is
See, this is the
Next Monday,
10,
next
17.
Friday.
And that would be the Thursday.
I've got a calendar right here.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so the 23rd is a Wednesday,
I have availability for the 14th and the 15th.
the 24th is a Thursday. And what time would this be at?
It's up to you.
You could have 6:30 again.
That would mean more members of the public would attend. That's a good idea.
Could we do a Saturday or no? Would that be?
Oh, it's
I don't
completely
think a
up to
lot
you.
of people would come on a Saturday. People are busy on the
If you want me here, I will be here day or
Let's see.
night.
So that's the
Do they
Yeah,
next
you should be
Friday.
here to answer questions. All the board members should be here. to
No, it's
answer
not. I was just wondering if we could have a Saturday.
The 23rd or 24th sounds good. That would be Wednesday or Thursday.
I have the 14th and 15th.
I cannot do the 14th and 15th.
And I
but-
can't do it either.
But I can do the 23rd or the 24th.
That's when I can. And that's when a lot of the neighborhood can do it. That they've had input from that, and they can do it on the 23rd, 24th. It was actually from the 20th that most of the people I talked to were available. I do outreach.
I'm in surgery on the 15th. So
Okay.
14th, so I shouldn't be able to participate on the 14th. So the 14th is out for me.
Oh, how long is your recovery for surgery?
I don't know until I
Okay.
have it.
All right,
You know, it should be just that day.
okay.
So since I'll have it in the morning, I should be fine by the next day. And, yeah, because the other one on the 23rd is during the day, it's post-op, so.
Okay.
But other than that, I'm open for all the other days.
Seems like the 23rd and the 24th would be a good time for a lot of
Do we
people.
need 2 days?
No, we're just either one or the
Yeah.
other,
Yeah,
so.
I think the 23rd makes sense.
it's okay with me.
Okay, we can do the 23rd. That works for me. Oh, you can't do it. I'm sorry, I forgot. You can only do the 14th and the 15th, correct?
Can you do the 23rd? I'm sorry.
Prefer not to, I can, but it's,
Vacation starting
yeah,
to wear
really
off,
close to
so-
other stuff, but
Okay,
Well, what's better for you, the 24th?
I don't, absolutely not, but the 14th, I had the 14th, 15th, and, yeah, it's just the 20, yeah, in terms of what works for me. I could do the 23rd, but it's really close to other stuff.
Well, how about the 18th? People had a
That's
problem
when
with that?
I have other engagements that day. I mean, if it's in the evening, I have
Because it
engagements in
seems
the
like the
evening.
sooner we get
It's
to it,
a
the
Friday. If you
better.
want to do Friday during the day, I can do Friday during the day.
A lot of people aren't available.
Yeah, I
on the
can't-
14th and
I'm
15th.
booked for
Well,
that.
I already
The
have another
23rd and
engagement
24th,
that
that
evening.
gives, that's a better time. That's a Wednesday or a Thursday. And our regular board meeting is on a Thursday. So people are maybe apt to be showing up on either a Wednesday or a Thursday. Maybe we should do an outreach to find out, or a survey when people can do this. No,
Yeah.
but can you do it on the 23rd or 4th?
Um,
What about you, Anu?
Kevin?
Can you-
If I may,
Kevin?
since the purpose of this is to have our auditor come.
right. It's for the auditor to come and answer our
Right,
questions,
maybe
correct?
If none of
We
these
have to
dates
approve
work, I can
Presentation.
find out what other dates work and then email and find a date that works, publicize it on our website, on the bulletin boards, if that's all right. And if not, we can always put on the February meeting.
I think
It
we
might
should
be
do it sooner
February
than
meeting.
later.
So if we do so this independent audit report that was supposed to be a special meeting would just be part of the next agenda.
If worst case.
If he
Okay.
has his
But,
dates available.
okay, but that does not guarantee that the auditor would come?
I would need to find out that the
Okay.
auditor is available that day.
Okay,
We had originally planned for tonight, but that fell through.
okay.
So if possible, I can reach out and then get the dates.
So if
Or we choose for next month.
if I understand what everybody's saying, so the 18th doesn't work, the 23rd and the 24th are preferred,
That's it.
right?
That is,
And the
that is
14th and the
correct.
15th don't work for some people too,
Yeah.
right?
No, it does not work for me. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Then
So-
let's see if he's available the 23rd or 24th, otherwise we're gonna have to pull ourselves to,
He
I know
gave
what's
us these
available.
dates already.
These
These
are
are
his
the
dates.
dates he is available.
those are the dates he is available?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So, 23rd or 24th, I don't care.
I don't want to do the
Why don't we just get more time or just do it at the next meeting?
Next meeting.
That's
That is the
probably,
next meeting.
Then you're making that meeting really long.
Yeah, that's the other
They're
thing, is
really
that
long.
we have a ton of items that
Okay.
didn't even make it on here.
We
that-
right, okay.
We
We
need to have
promised the
another meeting.
people a special meeting where they could ask questions and have an open forum. And that's what we should deliver.
okay.
That needs to be prioritized. Given the amount of people who are here who are asking questions, I mean, seriously, which a public body would be so completely negligent of their responsibility like this? People are asking questions, you need to be responsive, especially with this board for over 2 decades. You have to make time for that. You can't just say, let them keep talking, we'll just follow Robert's rules of order. That's not okay.
I'm sorry, what's your question?
When are you gonna carve time out to answer people's questions? Right now, we're asking questions, you are acting like we're not here at all. That's not okay, you have to make time to respond to those questions.
I think that's.
The
item
23rd or the
6A.
24th
Yeah. 6A.
is what everybody seems to be down with.
Um,
Okay, so which day is it, just say?
It's a Wednesday and a Thursday.
Which day you pick?
Let's just do the 24th.
No, the
Okay,
23rd.
I'm down
The
with that.
23rd, okay, the 23rd.
Okay,
Done.
I'm down with
I
that.
make the motion.
That's too early.
Approved.
Oh, that's too,
This
is for the auditor's report.
No, this is for the special meeting.
No,
For the
Sandy,
auditor.
please,
No, no.
if one of your board members is wondering if it's for the public outreach, and it's my understanding it's for the.
oh, I thought it was for the auditor because,
It is for the
okay,
auditor.
because
So
I,
you make sure your board members are.
okay, because basically these are the dates that the auditor can come.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I do have to add that the board had chosen to put the salary ranges also on the special meeting, so it would not just be for the audit reports. I don't want any confusion there.
To do what?
What we don't get to tonight will be added to that meeting.
I can only hear one person.
So the board had voted to put the salary ranges on the special meeting, so it will not just be for the audit.
Okay,
So there may be some other items.
okay.
Right, and the process for the clearing.
That's-
So there's
okay.
gonna be multiple items.
So this
Okay.
isn't about the forum that we're gonna have. This is gonna be for some, when are we gonna have this forum? People want this forum.
For 6A.
All right,
Okay.
6
let's do that then.
Okay, number 3 is hourly wage increase.
Right.
Um,
All right, so two parts of this. One is that we need to keep up with the wages in this area. And right now, you can go work at In-N-Out for $16 an hour. I like to think our people are worth a lot more than that because they have excellent communication skills and excellent swimming skills. They're very hard to find and they're very hardworking and they deserve more. The other problem is our lap swim guards during the winter are very difficult to find. Because of the early hours, the high schoolers are not allowed to do it, which leaves college students. I don't know if you've ever tried to get a college student up at 6 a.m. to come to work. It's not easy. So in
Could I make
addition,
a suggestion? What about the coach? Why can't, we're paying him $57,000 a year, why can't he do the morning laps?
Yeah, that's actually a good point.
Why can't he do it? That's what he's hired to do.
that's not what he's hired to do.
Oh, really? Oh, he's not a swim coach? Okay,
So
I'm still,
I'm confused.
I'd like to continue with this item, if you don't mind.
You're saying it's hard to get a morning lap swim. We already have a person that's totally capable of doing that. Why isn't he here? We pay him $57,000 a year, plus benefits. Why can't he do the morning lap swim?
So currently, our program manager is going out and he's trying to find more staff. to
Why
come
can't he do it?
For the spring and the summer. So if we have him doing other things,
That's not a good answer.
then we may not have staff for spring and summer, which I understand
Oh,
to be the
come on.
priority.
There's all kinds of people in the summertime here.
No?
If there's not enough, if the board would like to reassign him to lifeguarding, then that's something that we can look at. I don't think it's the best use of his time though.
but he's a salaried employee, correct?
Yeah.
Correct.
So it wouldn't cost more money if he did come in the morning?
No, no,
Because
no.
it would just be,
No.
Certainly we could have him in
Have
the
you
morning.
asked him if he'll just cover?
He's the
He has
logical
covered.
person
He
to
has
fill
covered.
in.
Anyone who's come in the morning has seen him at least a few times over the last.
You could solve this problem if you had evenings lap swim hours like
Exactly.
she
I was
wants,
gonna
and
say
high
that.
schoolers can work it.
But we'll definitely look into that, so
We'll
thank you.
get to that later.
You know, Kevin, I always
So the next-
notice you always give a reason why somebody can't do something. And that happens a lot.
tried to
Why
say
can't we
what he
do this?
was
Oh,
doing.
we can't do this because, and then you go into this long explanation that people get
It's-
lost
that's-
in.
that's a
Excuse
personal
me.
back to
No,
hourly
it's not
wages.
personal.
It-
It's management.
I'm thinking that it's more
Oh,
appropriate
well,
to
you
discuss
can-
in closed session.
you
It's
have a
just-
right.
it's just- Yes. it's just
This is
discussion.
about him managing.
It's a personnel.
Oh,
related.
no, it isn't.
Point of
No.
order.
We're trying to
We're
get people
trying-
in real bad. We just had someone turn in their 2 weeks a couple of weeks ago. We're fine for the next week because we have staff who's in from college who still has yet to start. Starting 2 weeks from now, we're gonna have a real problem. And
How many
when,
people do you have swimming at that hour?
it's about 15, it's not that many at this point. We'd love to have more swimmers, we really would.
and this is for morning lap swim?
Morning lap swim.
Okay, and that's from 7 to 9.
I never go 7 to 9, so I'm getting ready for work.
I totally understand, you're not alone. And so I think that we can definitely address that in item 6D.
Do we have data about how much the other lifeguards and other such pools are getting paid? Have you gathered any data?
It's really all over the place. We've had people who've made a lot more and also a lot less too. But it's all confounded by the minimum wage increase. So it's all over the
And we're
place.
competing with
We need to
every
make
door
minimum
that has
wage,
a,
but
you
why
know, need to
compare
hire.
employees?
Sorry?
Why compare lifeguards to in-and-out employees? Doesn't make sense to me.
Because
The other lifeguards.
You're competing for the same pool of people.
There's not that many idiots looking for jobs.
Yeah,
When you look at
Right,
it,
yeah.
They're not worthy.
the millennial generation,
and they're transitional, you know.
they worked, about half of them did summer jobs. The current generation, it's about 33%. So the number of teens who are looking for work is low. And in this area, we're
Around here
not just
especially.
competing with in and out, we're competing with internships, and these guys are good.
That's why you gotta go to the places where the kids do need a job and have them hire them, not go to people that don't need a
Advertise
job.
more.
Go to
And,
people
and
who
where
do
do they
need a
live?
job.
How are they
Stockton.
getting here?
Just approve the increase.
So we're gonna bring them in from Tracy, are we?
So if possible, I would like to keep LAPSWM open after next week. I believe that this may be a step to helping it, but that's up to the board.
Well, I move to approve the increase so we can get on to another item.
Thank you. I'll
All right.
second, are you on second? Okay, I'll second that. We covered the discussion. All in favor?
Of the increase from 16 to 17 for lifeguards, is that what we're voting
And
on?
$5 per lap swim person if it helps to attract a morning lap swim person.
Oh, I
Is this
see.
only for morning lap swim?
There are two items
Or
here,
is this across the board?
A and B.
A and B.
So,
The
I just,
$5 is just per shift, it's not per hour. It's just per
oh,
shift.
I see,
It
okay,
says here, per shift.
right.
Mhm.
I know, but it still was confusing. So it would be $5 per
lap swim
7
shift.
to 9
Lap swim
lap
shift.
swim shift.
Right.
That's,
Plus
Okay.
the
that's why it
setup
says
cleanup
shift.
before
Gotcha.
and after.
Right, but it still was a little unclear if it was per
What
hour
is it
per
now?
shift.
Yeah,
Okay,
you're right.
What is it?
all right, so I approve of it,
All right.
so.
Okay, so we
So it passes.
total approval or
Yeah.
you're good with that?
What is the lap swim now, though, just as a curiosity?
The pricing?
Yeah.
It's $5 for a day pass, $4 for residents.
Okay, so that's the same thing then, right?
No, this is, I read this as they would make $5 more,
Yes.
Yes.
okay,
Per shift.
You read it correctly.
per shift, the
Yes.
actual lifeguard.
Yes.
This doesn't have to do with pricing of lap swim.
If it was
That's
2 hours,
right,
it'd be
okay.
another $2.50.
My
Right.
apologies for any confusion.
Okay,
So regular people are gonna get a $1 raise, and whoever you hire for the lap swim is gonna get $5, like to $22 an hour.
it's not per
No,
it's
hour
not per
though,
hour.
it's just per shift, so
Okay.
per lap swim session
Alright.
from 7 to 9.
So don't you already pay Arthur $25 an hour when he does the lifeguarding?
So that just shows how desperate we are for lifeguards. So
What-
Arthur
What's
is
wrong
our,
what's wrong with him?
well, he's our maintenance guy, so he's actually
But
doing.
he also has lifeguarding.
He used to do lifeguarding and we asked him to do it again. So
Is he
got
up to
recert-
date?
Yes, he was recertified.
Okay, well, he's
So
a good worker, I know that for
He
a
is a
fact.
good, he's
But
an
he has
I
to
excellent.
really-
certify.
I think
Our
he's
people are
excellent.
Yes.
Well, maybe you should just pay him.
I have a question.
Sure.
Who actually pays for these certifications of the lifeguards? Is it something that you guys pay for if someone decides to be a lifeguard? Or do you have to be pre-certified to be
No.
working as a
No.
lifeguard?
So many years ago, we had problems finding lifeguards. So I became a Red Cross certified lifeguard instructor and I certified our guards for a very long time. Now, since that time, I passed the mantle on to Jay, who is also certified lifeguard instructor through the American Red Cross. Chris Ho, who recently resigned, is also a Red Cross certified lifeguard instructor, and so is Victoria. So we certify our own guards.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but it's not at any, they don't have to pay for any of that certification, is
Correct.
what I'm trying
Yeah,
to say.
so we
It's just-
try to attract anyone who has a swimming skill who can pass the class.
Okay,
The
all
way-
right.
The way it works is they come, they pay for the class. When they pass the class, then we refund the money. So
Right.
they gotta have a little bit of skin in the game.
Right.
Yeah.
Because they have to have an
So
incentive to actually stay instead of,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
right, okay.
So that's how we do it. We take a lot of energy in trying to make sure that things run smoothly. We really do. And to have enough lifeguards.
Number 4,
So that passed unanimously?
yes, it
Yes.
did. Okay. A functional vote. Okay, number 4 is $1 non-resident public swim day pass increase. So,
Basically, the city of Cupertino, for example, the Blackberry Farm pool last, I haven't checked recently, it used to be $7 during the weekdays, $9 on the weekend. Pricing is similar throughout the area. It's not the idea is to increase them kind of one at a time. So non-resident, then resident, non-resident, resident. So this would push a public swim day pass to $6 per person.
But it would still be $4 for,
Correct. Yes.
okay.
So that would be a 33% discount. This would also push up the cost of the 10 punch pass, which is currently set at 9 day passes is 10 for that pack.
So the 10th day is free, essentially.
Yeah. That's, yeah.
So, oh, go ahead.
And so you have to change that to match the 10th day free at the new rate.
Right, exactly.
So, I'm kind of confused about the whole swim day pass, because to me, I guess I'm just familiar with the lap swim in the morning. What are other programs that if people were to pay for the day swim pass that they could use? Like, because there's lap swim and then, like, I know that the pool is open, I guess from like, it's 3:30 to 7:30 or 3 to 7 or whatever. So what could someone who pays for this pass use during the 3 to 7 timeframe?
So currently nothing. I think that that's something we could talk about on item 6D. But in the summer, when we have lap swim and public swim, I do know that there are some patrons who do come twice a day. That has happened. And there was a time when we briefly had the aqua aerobics class, and the day pass was also good for that.
Okay.
We had basically we had an employee who was already an instructor, and so we had him do it for a while. And right now we have a couple of people who are in the process of getting certified. So we hope to bring that back soon, but the emphasis is on that swim camp currently.
Okay, calling the question, or can we have a motion?
I mean, I'll move to raise the rate. Non-resident public swim day pass increase $1.
And this would be effective immediately.
It was meant to be for January 1st, but it's been pushed down so far. We
Okay.
could make it effective whenever you want. February 1st, there you go.
Makes more sense.
Yeah.
Are we voting on number 4?
Yes, we are.
Correct.
But we need a second. Who seconded it?
Okay, I'll second it. Okay, all in favor of $1 increase for non-residents?
I vote no.
Passes. Okay, number 5, program manager's contract.
You can kick that onto next week or next month.
I see. Okay, we're on number 6, the board communication with public at. And number 8, standing resident outreach group or committee you're establishing.
Yeah.
So far, Sophie and I have been on the outreach committee unofficially. This is about board outreach, right? Board communication with the public outreach. We've done a lot of outreach, starting
Thank
last
you,
August.
Kevin, please.
So there's been some real issues with our outreach. I think we can all acknowledge that. And one possible solution might be to have a outreach committee with citizens involved in it. And this would be an excellent forum for a lot of the discussions that I know that people want to have. The board meetings, typically, we bring fully thought out proposals for the board to give a thumbs up or a thumbs down. And that doesn't really lend itself to a Q&A session. It doesn't really make it very appropriate for some of these things. But a citizen commission, especially with a member of the resident community sitting on that commission, or I'm not sure what the word is, outreach committee, would I think be a good step forward to resolving a lot of these issues. This could also be useful for finding out better ways to reach the public and also what programs the public wants that we could do.
I'm confused though, like, shouldn't that be
The board's
the
job.
board and the management's job?
So, and I can answer that. It's not a problem.
Right, so we
So-
want input, but I mean,
So
but
what
at the same
happens is
time,
that
I'm
the committee
still,
does work outside of the board meeting, and they come up with a fully fleshed out proposal to bring to the board meeting. That's how it's,
Like, for example, I'll help out. Like, for
Yeah.
example, you says, we want to institute a newsletter. We want to have we want to upgrade the website.
Right.
We want to have a secretary hired to do the minutes, and we want to have board agenda items that are created with explanations about what the board is gonna be considering with information. I mean, there's a bucket of things that could be considered.
Can you send out a notice to every house? There's not that many houses, telling them how much percent they're.
That's something that, but that's something that the committee could
Yeah.
could look
Okay,
at.
So-
Yeah.
So this committee,
Yeah.
this committee would be members of the board and members of
Could
the
be.
community.
Right, the policy, I believe, states that there's a maximum and minimum of 2 board members on the committee. But I believe that it might be possible to add some members of the public, so that there's some community input. And the best part about it, in my opinion, is that it also grows members of the public to be future board members. And that's
Right.
ideal, I think, for everyone.
But I almost feel, I mean, I kind of feel like there shouldn't be a committee for outreach. Outreach should already be happening.
Yeah.
But it's not, so
You know.
we need a committee to
No,
organize it, to
it's
make it happen.
not. But I think that's part of, I think the reason for that though, is I think that the board and management has not made that
Priority.
a priority.
Right.
So I mean, I understand you want the public's input and everything, but I don't understand why the board and management cannot do it themselves.
We
Why?
could, but I think that right now, there's not a lot of
But you,
trust in the
you already
room at
said
all,
that
so-
you wanted the public to be part of that.
Right, I
so
want their output, but I'm saying like, I feel like it's part of our job to do that.
That's
It's
why
not,
we're putting
Yeah.
a committee
Right.
together
That's
so
why
we
it's
can
on the
have
agenda.
some sort of
It sounds to
interaction.
me like the board would actually be doing it, we would just be taking some input from.
Right.
Okay.
It would be a
Sophie
committee.
and I
Because
have
as you
been
could-
doing
I just so you know,
I see.
also just so you know, is they can't, anytime three of them meet, it has to be in an open session. They can't discuss these items amongst themselves. They
Right,
can
'cause it's
only
a
do so-
quorum, correct?
Exactly
Okay.
right. So that's why when you set up a subcommittee of 2 members, it'll still have to be a public meeting of this nature, I believe.
Yes.
And it's a way that they can bring ideas and suggestions to the full board for consideration. It's one idea.
Part
You
of
know,
it-
you could have a subcommittee of 2 of you to come up with ideas for the board to consider without involving anyone. There's always you want to do it. So that's just, that was just something that was raised last week.
I just-
Also,
go
if-
ahead.
If I may, I know this might be a little controversial, but I think that because there's so much division on the board, it might be good if there's representations from both sides on the committee. I think that that would be very helpful in potentially building that trust. So,
I just want to second the idea that the board, regardless of who's on it, has the ongoing responsibility to, in fact, inform the community of what's going on and possibly recruit future board members. I think that's an excellent idea. Because being on the board involves certain knowledges and procedures, etc., and that can only happen over a period of time. However, I don't like this idea of having some kind of outreach committee that people will, work hard, give suggestions, and there is no guarantee that the board will either adopt them
right.
or at
It might not be
all in any
implemented.
percentage.
That's always the
That's
case.
how it was
No,
gonna
that is
work.
no incentive.
I still think we have to.
That's
try.
how
I
it's
think
gonna
this
work
board
anyway.
needs to earn the trust back of the community, and we can do that by doing some hard work.
But it would
Of
be one way to
coming up
do
with
it,
ideas.
by taking our input.
No, but you don't say, you do it. You want outreach, you do it.
Right.
No,
no.
I mean, that's how it sounds, going with the history of this group, of this board, that's how it sounds to me. I have very little trust right now. This little bit of trust needs to be earned. Right now, what I feel like, I have no incentive to be on this, whatever committee might be set up, because I feel like I will work hard, I will actually maybe go meet all my neighbors on my
Right.
street, blah, blah, blah. I will do all this work, and then I'll bring some suggestions. Poo-poo, is exactly what will happen. Going upon the attitudes I have seen the last 3 months, I would hate to spend 1 minute of my time.
I
on this.
think,
There is no trust. You need to do something, you as in the board need to do something to build that trust before you take more of our time. With no guarantee of actually including our suggestions.
I don't see why, I mean, it wouldn't be that expensive for us to actually like do a newsletter and like mail it to every house and just
Survey.
let them know when the meetings are and then like
Right.
ask them if they want to be part of the committee. Could that be part of outreach? That way, I mean, there are a lot of people here who are who don't even know still that this district happened. So I feel like if we want to do outreach, I really think
should
that a
do
newsletter
outreach.
would probably be the first
Yes.
start of it.
And a
Perhaps it
survey.
would be
But
good
by
to
now,
have a
it's
committee.
$500.
At least, yeah.
What's that?
So,
But that's, That's a fraction of your membership.
Yeah, that
Going
is.
to the
That's not
weekend
that much
away.
money. I mean, in the grand scheme of things,
You wanna
these
approve things,
people,
do it.
And how should we do that process? Should we set up a committee?
All the trainings you got, use them to
Or shall we just have
actually
board
build the
meetings?
community here.
So if,
How long
Don't
do you
ask
let the
us
board
to build our own
meetings?
community.
if I may, that's a perfect place for the outreach committee is to find out how do we want to do the outreach? Is it going to be a mailer? And I think that's a great
So
idea. We could
mailing
do
is an
mailer.
online
Are
newsletter.
we going to have people knocking on doors?
Maybe
we
it's
could do
a-
all of it.
Well,
Can I
don't-
say something?
Yeah.
Facebook page.
Sophie and I have done that in a campaign. And we've been here all these years and nobody's done that. And it wasn't like we needed to be a committee. It's just common sense. If you outreach to people, you knock on their doors and you let them know what's going on. And that's what we did. And then we started recording the meetings. And so more people could put their, get their input. I mean, we've already done outreach. And so we
Not to
should
the
build
whole
on that
Not to the whole-
outreach.
yeah, I-
By doing what Sophie
board
said
hasn't been
about,
doing it.
It has to be a wider range.
there definitely does. And I mean, I can volunteer to do like a mock-up of an outline of what I think is on the
Yeah,
newsletter.
yeah, sure.
And I mean, I think that's a great start because right now, I don't think we really have anything. And I think a newsletter, it's not something that takes up a lot of time. I'm sure there's a way for us to get the information to mail a newsletter to everyone in this neighborhood. It's not very big, you know?
400
And then what
houses.
you do is you have them email you back with their email. and
Right.
Continue receiving.
Right,
email
exactly,
newsletter.
exactly.
So this would be the kind of thing that we could work on at the committee and more, including programs such as Lapswim, for example, finding out those times and making sure that people, know that it's happening with that outreach that you're talking about, but getting enough people that we can sustain those programs as well.
Yeah.
So
I
this
think, I think what you're saying is that he's concerned about how you're gonna get the input you need from the public. And that's why having, the thought was, and not to say, I'm not obviously advocating anything, but the thought was if you had a committee from the public and a couple board members, there could be some, some thought, lots of thought gelling, some, from the public.
Brainstorming.
Yeah, brainstorming, the public, it's just one thought, that's all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or do you want to bring something to put on the agenda next time? You want to put newsletter down and we'll make a decision or
And
Versus
so you
the
should
committee
be working
thing.
on it. The owner should be on you, just because it is the idea, I think the labor should be shared.
absolutely.
Yeah,
You
I,
didn't say that last
Essentially
time.
mock it up.
I'll do a mock-up, but I do feel like there should be a newsletter at least every month. I think people should at least, I know that the minutes are online, but I really think, I mean, you already do I don't think that's, for what people pay, we can send them something that costs $1 in the
Yeah.
mail. That's how I feel.
Well, you should only have to mail it once.
Well, would
and then
you,
get
like-
their-
Right, or you can do something
Right.
once a year and it has all the dates and times of the
This would
meeting.
be
So I
perfect
hear
for a
you-
committee, and I could bring numbers as far as how much that would cost, because if you're doing.
Why does that have,
Does this whole thing and
So does that work for
Maybe
you?
repair some.
Okay.
Or not? Well, I mean, we could do
Yeah.
newsletters separately. We could put newsletter on the agendas for next time and make some decisions about how we want it to go and approve that, and then maybe, so.
May I also suggest that nobody wants more news, either the neighborhood or the community or anything else. People are inundated with information. We all know this. The newsletter needs to consist specifically of something people can use, how this center can be useful to them, how the tax dollars can actually do something for them. That's what the newsletter needs to consist of. If you just send them, these are the lab hours, this is this, these are the board meetings, these are the board members, that in itself, people don't want more information.
No, I do
They need
agree
to
with
know
you on
how
that.
to
I do
use
agree
this
on
You
center.
that.
want a committee or a newsletter? I'm not clear what.
I'm
You're
talking
saying
about
you
a
want the-
newsletter. We can't just do a newsletter and say, oh, well, we did a newsletter, nobody responded, nobody sent their email addresses. That is not gonna work. I can already predict, just doing a newsletter with boring information, nobody wants more information.
So
What you
no,
need to do is,
no
first
newsletter?
spend some time figuring out ways in which the community can use this center, whether the pool, the center, whatever it is. And then tell them, hey, these are the ways in which you can use this. This is how we can be
So,
useful to
do
you.
you
Then
like
that's what
the
people want to
committee?
know.
Do you
I'm
like,
sorry, please stop, because I can't
Is
tell you
the-
that's to talk.
is the committee an idea that you support?
Not if it means The board will still not do anything, and, just because the community asks for something, say, oh, great, you do it, then
Oh,
we'll
that- yeah,
decide later
yeah,
on if
yeah.
you'll actually agree to anything you say or not. I don't like that idea at all. I'm not gonna give more free labor.
How do you
You're supposed to be doing
envision,
it.
how do you envision the,
Okay,
communications with the public then?
I already said that.
I'm confused. I don't,
Yeah, I'm confused too.
The board needs
But
to
is
do
that-
something.
who's responsible?
Don't trust back from the community.
Okay,
Don't ask us to do more work when you
Okay.
already have not doing your
so
work
you don't
for
like the
6 years.
newsletter and you don't like the committee?
I'm saying newsletter should consist of not just like news that nobody can use and nobody can do anything with, but here is how you can use this center. What do you want? Ask them something.
So,
Give them
but-
something. Don't just
you
tell
don't
them
wanna have
information.
any
I don't want
community
I get 10
input
newsletters.
on
I get
that.
20 newsletters in my.
You
Newsletters
don't
are
think a committee could add input to that?
I'm saying
you're
newsletters
the
are
district-
cheap, easy to do, it's no use to anyone, but give them, put some thought into, first of all, what we want the newsletter, what can we give the people? first
So a
ask-
newsletter's okay? I'm not
Yeah.
clear, because it's.
You know
either we
what,
are or we
layers
aren't.
of bureaucracy
It's not
have
about
been
what we
added
need,
to
but
this
what in the
place.
newsletter.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Content.
Layers.
But then you don't see the
Don't just-
benefit of a committee with community members
I'm
adding to
saying,
that.
the
Because
community-
then the community would be able to direct that newsletter and what's in it.
but I feel like it's,
And, it's like you want
But
one,
then
but not
what's in
the
it?
other.
No, I'm sorry.
I feel it's
I'm
our
saying-
responsibility as a board member and for Kevin as the district manager that we should reach out to the people who actually fund this pool. I feel that way as a board member and as a resident
But
of
what
this
about
community.
community input? No?
I do believe we should have community
How
input.
should we do that then?
That's what I'm saying. We need to get people's,
So.
I don't
What's
think we
that
need
way?
a committee. I just feel like we just need to do outreach.
Yeah,
That just needs to
We need
happen.
to have a plan.
we don't.
And we do need to have a
bureaucracy.
plan.
Make a
You
plan
do need a
first.
plan. I believe,
I
believe
think this
that.
idea is a good one. I
so,
think you should start our new newsletter, and at the next meeting, you guys should approve that newsletter to go out, so it goes out in February. In the meantime, I think some of us should be meeting with Kevin to say, brainstorm, how can
Oh,
we
so
make
you-
more people?
All right, you
come?
like the committee.
I
idea.
do.
Yeah, okay. I think
so
that's
I'm up
possible.
for being part of a committee for doing this. I really
So
think
a
that
committee
outreach is
You
important.
guys need to move forward with that newsletter now.
Right. I do believe that's actually a very important thing. And I can't put it all, but I'd like to do like an outline of what I think should be in this newsletter.
I kinda like the
Together,
idea
Sure.
that
I
there
would be
was
happy to-
community input on the newsletter, though.
Can we do
I
a
think the
survey?
newsletter should be asking people if they want to be involved in the community input, then they can come.
True.
You can't
Right.
make it look like
Okay.
it's already decided. That's
Yeah.
part of it.
But
No,
it's
no,
already
it's not
told
that,
us,
not
yeah,
already
yeah, we
decided,
don't have
oh,
committee,
but
yes.
they're in open session.
Newsletter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Anytime we have that committee,
But you need to
it would be
invite
those
everyone
people and
together.
other people that
Right.
still come.
And give them reason to come. Throwing information to people is
Bring
not
donuts
outreach,
and
what I'm saying. Just giving them stuff that's already on the website or not on the website.
They don't
it's
even
not-
know to look at the website.
No,
Right.
That's, what I'm saying, but basically, don't throw information at people. Everybody has access to enough newsletters and more already. Give them something, concrete ways in which they can come and use this center. That's what they really want. Not dry information that.
I'm just-
no
No,
use
no,
to-
I see where you're coming from. I see where you're coming from.
I'm just
You just
concerned
don't-
you're gonna do the newsletter and you're not gonna do it right.
Oh, well,
I mean, without community input. It'd be that's why I really think start out with the committee, with the community.
I just-
So that, and like I said, it's open session in front of everybody. It's not
Right, I
gonna
was
be a
gonna
closed
say,
little circle.
a lot of people don't know this pool exists, or they think that it's part of
They
that
could always
development.
come and see the committee.
But-
That's open
They
session.
don't know.
People need to know first that this place exists.
But I'm saying, yeah, but before the horses, a group, so none of you want to be on this committee, you're saying?
I do, but I want that newsletter going out next month.
Right.
Right.
And that
So
can
you don't
happen.
want to have any input on it.
He's got some
Sorry.
ideas.
Over time, yes.
What is the board going to do? I'd like to know what the board wants to do. What are the board members, what can they
Oh,
on
so
it?
it's gonna be a little slow.
Us to come up with what.
This one needs to be.
Can I say
Come here
this?
making demands.
If you need a newsletter, why don't we just do the newsletter? Why does it have to be a committee? Why do we have to
Right.
go through such bureaucracy?
Because you're gonna send out a newsletter to the
Yeah.
whole neighborhood to let them know,
Right.
A,
That's
you
it.
exist, B, you were elected or appointed. C, their money is going to this pool.
Right, so we should
And
just do it.
asking them for ideas of what they'd like. Meanwhile, we're gonna work on trying to find other ways to get people involved.
Okay,
Right.
It's a
you could start
two-pronged
to,
approach.
Yeah.
a committee could
Fun.
start to formulate what those
Exactly.
questions are. So,
Exactly.
I mean, okay.
If that's what you envision.
So we have more than one person's idea.
Well, I mean, you know,
I'm
obviously
fine.
you're the one.
I'm
who-
fine. I'm fine with coming up with an outline for a newsletter. I'm totally fine with that.
Oh,
Okay, it's on the agenda next.
so, the newsletter, I can get quotes and whatnot, and we can work offline if that's all right with you.
Sure.
The committee, I think, does require board approval, and then we'd have to figure out how the other members of the public would get on a process. So we would have to kind of look into that as well. But I think should be a priority because obviously there's a very clear and present need for it.
I agree.
I don't know that you have to have a process. You could just appoint, but then,
Okay.
but you have to think about, what's the criteria for being on the committee and before you vote on the person, because you're going to be voting on these people. So I don't know if you want a criteria or how you want to go about doing it.
So this would be criteria for people on the board or people from the community?
On the committee.
But
Who do you want to be on the committee and what's the criteria, right? How many people from the public and do you just want to appoint people who've expressed interest here today? That's possible. But
Well,
then other people,
Actual
yeah.
sitting committee, just have some open.
right. It could be just,
forums.
Right.
or you could even just, it's like ad hoc committee, right? There's just, you guys just have to
Appoint
decide.
people. That makes it even
Yeah.
worse
Well,
in some ways.
Having the
Why
voting
can't we
members-
just have her, like, she can do the
How about-
outline for the newsletter
Right.
and take it from there? Why does it have to be such a big deal? Why can't we do things and just do it instead of talking about doing it, how we're gonna do it, and just do it? Let's just do it.
Okay, so we'll skip the standing resident.
Oh, wait,
outreach
I thought we were
committee.
going to do, so we're not going to do a
And-
I think
committee.
we really
up to
should.
you.
Let's skip the committee. You
But
can
we used to have
do an
time to
outline
get
for the-
together and brainstorm.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
That's
All
the
right.
committee.
We could start with maybe just 2 board members and then the public and then have that Q&A thing. I mean, we could, and start there.
How
I
about,
was gonna say, start with the newsletter.
Oh, both.
We
both.
can, well,
We're doing,
then we can find out, like, say that, well, just seems to be a priority, and we haven't figured out the committee.
Mm.
So I think, and start with, we'll have a newsletter that Sophia is going to outline.
I will assist. I will assist.
Okay, yeah,
but
in conjunction with our general manager. And we'll put it on the agenda next time and evaluate that and see how we can get that out. Then we can see if that's actually what kind of, we could solicit for interest, or develop, then we'll have time to develop our committee if that's where we want to go.
So
I
why
got a quick
hasn't there?
We have a
suggestion,
resident.
a quick
Sure.
suggestion. Everybody who's interested in contributing to this newsletter, why don't we give our emails to Kevin to coordinate, and we'll get a mailing list of the 10 or so of us that are interested in trying to give you inputs of what would be nice in our first publication.
Sure.
I think that's a good idea.
And then,
And then, because you have some things you want to see in there, you have some things you want to see in there, you do, everybody, most of the people here have some ideas of the kind of information you feel has been sorely lacking from the board. And so, without coming up with a 400-page newsletter, I think within, the 4-page structure, we can probably answer 80 or 90% of the questions that you have.
We don't need a 400-page newsletter.
That's what I'm saying.
We
That's what I'm
already-
saying.
We don't need
It's
that.
just, it's just.
Oh, you're saying you want it to be more
You come
concise.
up with a
Gotcha.
draft.
you are our
Right.
newsletter
You come up with a
committee.
draft
You
of
are,
subjects,
you're our,
and this
Our newsletter
email
committee,
list can review
and
it.
you can,
Yeah.
people can send you information that, with their ideas
Okay.
about the
What should be
newsletter,
in
so.
there.
Or,
right.
yeah, or you can solicit
So-
for those.
We'll work on that. So committee is on hold. We're gonna.
I'll be.
Well, she's our committee,
I guess I'm the
newsletter
only.
committee
I
right
guess
now.
I'm the only person on the committee
Well,
at
it
the
could be
moment.
up to
I
two
can
people, but
join,
you
like,
can
and
be
help
the
you
news.
with that. I mean, it doesn't have to be you.
I'd like to have one more person. I think it would be
We're working
helpful.
with,
Ideally, staff would have the information about the programs in the district. It doesn't have to be me. It could be Jay or Sunny if you'd like, or I can assign staff to you. Whatever you like. I'm the most knowledgeable about
Okay.
it, so
Well, okay.
That would
well,
make more
That's
sense.
fine. But why hasn't outreach happened before? I'm
It
just
has.
curious
Move on,
about that.
please.
Traditionally it
It
has,
has.
but it's
No,
been a
it
long
hasn't.
time, as she's pointed out.
Other things that
That's
come up, we
wrong.
built the pool, it's like.
I still feel like
Maybe you'd like to go.
Outreach
on
could
and
just
suggest-
happen.
And why you want to withdraw in the past?
Like from the.
We move
for like
on.
the crab fest or something,
Foundation
right?
and
Well, do you
Sea
have,
Gala.
you want to talk about
There's
something?
ways
Yeah,
to do
sure.
all this stuff in those gaps.
We're moving to B, Rancho Community Program Suggestions. Fun.
Oh, me. Okay, yeah. So, right here, I know that people were interested in lap swim. I'm interested in having an aqua exercise class. I really think like other suggestions that I had was in terms of outreach, I just did a Survey Monkey thing. That cost nothing. It was 10 questions and people answered it.
How many
And
responses did you get?
I don't remember exactly. I mean, it wasn't a whole lot. It was maybe like 40 or something like that. But I mean, I just put it on Nextdoor and like about that many people. So a lot of people on there suggested that they don't use the pool. They would like to have this hall used for something. And I think,
For example.
what's that?
For example?
For example, people were saying that, you know, we could have this, like, there's a yoga class here. We could maybe have like whatever, a Zumba class or something like that.
Fantastic Zumba instructor lives a block away.
So we could do that.
Send her the info.
So, I mentioned at the previous meeting, you know, just we could have like a potluck or something like that, a book club. Another thing was like doing crafts. Kids are on the computer all the time. We can do something with like crafts, have them make something, you know, things like that. So, what other suggestions do you guys have? I mean, those were the things, some of the things that I got from the Survey Monkey and things that I came up with, so.
Make this place, yeah, make this place less of a business.
What's that?
I'll do a knitting club.
Knitting club. Yeah, knitting club's fine.
No, make this place available as a, just an event space, but for more reasonable rates with a greater cut for the local community, because houses in the area are small, we all know that, we all
Right.
have public events, you know, with birthday party or whatever else. People will take this space. So you have to, you know, we don't have to come up with ideas, we just make it available to them at a more reasonable price than right now, not like a business. It
Right.
should not be a business, because how can you be a business if you're getting funded? Well, that's all of American businesses, I guess.
And this
If you're
should,
getting taxpayer money, you should not be operating like a business.
and this should be paid
Well, that
for
was
by
my
the
thought,
district, for the residents. And we shouldn't be paying extra for this stuff, because we're getting $500,000 a year here. And they're trying to figure out ways to spend it, and they need to spend it on the community and not redecorating.
I completely second that.
Yeah.
Make this more accessible money-wise to the community, and
Yeah.
they will figure out how they want to use it. You don't have to come up with a list of 10 ways they can use it. They'll
Absolutely.
figure it out.
So, if I may, the board did actually reduce the pricing of the rental hall. So for residents, it's $60 during our peak time, and it's $40 during our off-peak time
$60 per what?
per hour.
That's a lot.
Yeah,
For
so
rental
we should be
spaces.
providing that, we
That's a
shouldn't be
lot.
charging our residents to use the rental hall when it's not being used, and we're getting $500,000 a year. We could put some of that money into some programs for these people that want to meet here for like a potluck or for any of the things that Sophie just mentioned that people want. And we should pay for that. We shouldn't,
Yeah, I don't
We
understand.
have in the past.
well,
So why did that
well,
stop?
we're not doing it
So
now.
When did it do it?
We've had neighborhood watch meetings here before. I've called them together, some of the
There was a
neighbors.
writing
Well,
club
we should
here.
do it again.
There was a writing
That's
club.
another good thing, a
But
neighborhood watch program.
Every year I
That's
put on a
wonderful.
The
seed
fees
exchange.
used are used for supervisors and of course for general upkeep.
It's
and maintenance.
$50. I've done it myself in the past
It's
when they
because you
couldn't
have a
find
key,
somebody.
so you
It's
can open
$50
and
for the
lock the place
whole
up afterwards.
supervision to open the hall, to
Yeah.
close the hall.
Right, so our costs are
That's
much.
it, $50.
No, that was,
It's not $50 an hour, it's $50 period.
so that was many years ago.
Well, it's still, what are you paying the supervisor now?
So the entry wage, of course.
I don't, just ask,
Was-
please just be
Finish.
direct,
Finish.
answer the question. How much do we pay a supervisor?
So for
for
a
the rental.
supervisor, you're looking at 17 now that the board increased it, plus $1, so that's 18. And then, of course, if they're a lifeguard, you're looking at 7.65%.
We don't need a lifeguard for a hall rental.
Usually the supervisory level ones are also
Okay,
lifeguards.
then we pay them $16.
No, they're 17 now plus supervisory.
Okay, 17.
And then on top of that, you have to account for workers' compensation and FICA, which amounts to an additional 25%.
So what? So what?
So you're looking at around.
So what?
20
We're getting $500,000 a year.
So you asked me a question, I'm answering it. It's about $22 to $23 an hour.
Yeah, so
And
what?
then there's also electricity,
So what?
and that's what
So what?
that's what they're paying for.
Yeah, so what?
No, I
So
think
what?
the whole mindset has to change where people have to recognize, you start from a place where you say, these people have already paid for this place. What are they getting for it?
Yeah, $500,000 a
I
year.
have 20 years, right? And I've paid X amount of money. I have gotten nothing. Absolutely nothing. That's fine. I don't have to, I don't have, my kids don't have to go to public school, they're very good private school. I'm still okay with the public school being funded by my taxes. That's all right. But then you are making more money than you are actually using. This is not actually meant to be a business.
School.
You might use a business model as a model to go, but really you have to think about how are we serving the public. I don't think they're being served.
Why are you
Why is
against
it
that,
about, why
Kevin?
not do much
I'm
less?
sorry,
Why are you against
what am I against?
paying supervisory fees to have this community use this rental hall? Why are you against that?
I'm not against that.
Well,
This
it
is a
sounds
board-
like you're
this is
making
board
excuses
decision.
why it's gonna cost an arm
This
and
is
a
what the
leg.
board
You just have
decided.
to,
It may end up to $100. Who
We don't
cares?
just leave the front door unlocked 24/7.
We're not. The
for people at
supervisor's gonna
meetings,
be here.
you know.
Whenever these people, you have, oh my God, why can't you just get on board with stuff? Why can't you just get on board with it?
To you, it's open.
$500,000 a year. We get, the city only gets what, 560 something. We're getting almost as much as the city gets. And we're talking about a supervisory fee for the hall, for the people in this community to have use of it, to have whatever they want here.
Yeah.
Whatever they
Way
just,
too much. I think someone needs to come and model the figures and see at what rates can
Check
it's
around
actually
at
be
other parks
available.
and see what their fees are, and we'll see if we're in line with them.
I think Quinlan is a lot more, but I'll check.
Well, Quinlan is, yeah, but
Yeah.
Lakeside Park, that little room, that's not much.
I mean, but
Check and see.
They have a room?
what's the budget on the Quinlan Center a year? What's their budget?
I have no idea.
Well, then
I
why
think our
compare?
fees have been wrong.
Yeah. Traditionally, our fees have been less
I mean,
than renting any other
You know, you
place
could
in
make a
Cupertino.
motion to just make it all free and we don't have to charge for anything, give free swim lessons and free hall rentals and
Can
free.
we get to
You can make
Ashtot?
that motion, If you don't like the way
Okay,
it
I
is.
make a motion
Okay.
that the people of this community can use this rental hall for a supervisory fee. And which the district pays for because they already get the money for this stuff anyway.
We already
And
have
it should
policies in
be,
place
we
for
should
that.
be spending more
But
money
it's not
on
happening.
community than we do on redecorating or any of these other projects. This $500,000. $500,000 is what we get. And it's gonna go up every year because these houses are getting more and more expensive. And more, the houses like I live in are getting flattened for 2 stories and other, which are bringing in $30,000 a year in taxes on one house. And we're getting 4.61% of that money.
No, I also think it's highly problematic that there's a new member of the board, the onus is on her.
Oh, I thought we
to
already
come up
moved
with
on.
ideas.
Did we?
What
I
the
don't know.
members who
I
was the
don't, you
board
didn't
for
get the
26
report
years
of any
doing.
new programs. I thought we were still talking about programs.
But why are the older members?
Oh, I
not
thought they
doing
were-
anything?
I
What have they
don't
learned
know.
by being about 26 years?
All right, so,
And
So I made a
Why
motion
the onus on
Okay.
her to come
I made a
up with
motion.
all the work?
to spend that money on community programs in the rental hall for whatever that comes out of the survey. Maybe they want to have exercise. I can't remember all of the programs that you
Right.
mentioned. But this district should be paying for that. And then we pay for supervisory to to be open the hall and close the hall.
So basically,
Because I've done that myself. It's no big deal. You sit there and do nothing.
We need the budget for that.
Kevin,
We $500,000
No,
a
no,
year. How about
500.
that budget?
No,
Why don't we let Kevin look
Yeah,
at what that
that's-
would cost?
yeah.
right, I was
Yeah.
gonna ask, how much would that cost? So
We need to look at
basically,
the
You can go
cost.
through the records
It
and
was
see how many people have been
$500,000.
residents, what that would have cost us.
Yeah, if
And then
that's,
you gotta up it, because if it's free, it's free, don't you?
Right.
So super-
This is more reasonable than it is right now. You can do some mathematical modeling to figure out at what is the minimum price you can give this out, where it can still run and the
Right.
you can use it. It doesn't have, we don't
You
have to
haven't done
compete
that,
with
have
the
you?
Marriott.
So you haven't done that, have you? For all that 90.
yeah, it'll just
Yeah,
take
you
a
don't
bit to
do
put it
that.
together,
You don't do any of that stuff.
but. So,
Thank you.
if I understand correctly, the
Board
board would
members are welcome to do it.
like
Kevin
more
doesn't have to.
information on, the costs of doing a hall rental. Is that my understanding? Is that correct?
I don't know. What do you need? What do you want him to do?
I think, okay, let's just make this simple, all right? I like simple. All right, the community can use the rental hall for a program or a card game or like any of the things that Sophie mentioned that the people want. And we provide this hall for a supervisory fee, and we pay the fee. We get $500,000 a year, and I'm sure that the budget can be made, I don't know, $10,000 or $20,000 a year for that purpose. I mean, that's chump change for community services.
I had a question. So you get paid to be here, right? Where
I
does,
don't get, my office does have a hourly rate, yes.
okay, so I guess it's the county council office.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah.
So we're
I just, I'm salary.
Gotcha,
so it doesn't
gotcha.
matter.
So where
I can
does-
go till 2, it doesn't matter.
where does that budget come? Is that already in the budget, like
Yes.
her
Yes.
fees?
I don't know if it's as much as we've been using recently,
Okay.
but we do have it in the budget.
Okay.
And why are we using
It's
county
better
council
over
so
time.
much?
Because we can't seem to have a meeting
Yeah.
without her.
Pardon me?
We can't seem to have a meeting without her.
Well, we can if we're civil
see,
and we're
yeah,
not
apparently
yelling
you're
at
not.
each other like you, Hilda.
Like you do, yeah.
Do you guys want to sit next to each other at the next
No.
meeting?
I
Because I
want to be with you.
I feel like I'm the middle woman here.
Yeah.
And this only happened the last 2 meetings. That all of a sudden, when the light is on this place, when the light is shining, then we need county council here to protect who? They're not here to protect me,
Yes,
because
they
I
are.
got
They
nothing
are.
to
It's the
hide.
board in
Well, you-
general. It's the
Okay,
board as a
all right.
whole,
Well,
okay?
I personally don't need your services.
Well, the
personally.
board feels.
Apparently they do
That's
because they have a problem. I don't know what the problem is.
Can we do a test, like a test program where we just do like, let's do one community thing here and see
Yeah.
how it happens?
Yeah.
Instead of just saying that everyone can use it, let's just do a test run.
Yeah,
How's that?
yeah. Have one of the,
So
have
who gets
a
it though,
program.
right? So who qualifies? Let's say 2 people go in, then which one gets the test program?
Yep.
You know, what if they're doing something that we don't allow? What if they want to have like
The
fireworks?
problem
in
here
our
is you're
hall?
trying to
Yeah.
get policy on the
In your
fly,
newsletter,
and that's
send
not.
I'll put it,
what
yeah,
we do.
I'll put it in the
There's gonna be an
newsletter.
open house.
Yeah.
People
Right.
can
Right.
come
About that.
and suggest and see what there is here and tell you what they would like to pay an hour.
Excellent idea. That shouldn't be against any policies that they have.
And ask the question of what if the difference
Yeah.
something you won't allow, and you won't allow it. Nobody is actually testing any gambling activities or any other illegal
Never
activities.
know.
Nobody is
Never
interested in that.
know. we had
I think we can start much simpler, really.
we had a high school party here once. Okay.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I don't think it's not slippery slope, where it started and right away we ended up with a gambling party. There's many other illegal.
She had a
activities that
motion. I don't know if
Yeah,
it's
I have a
seconded.
motion.
I didn't hear
I don't hear
a second,
second.
so.
Anybody want to second the motion that I did? Does anybody remember what the motion was?
That was to have people use this.
Right, for supervisory
Right.
fee, which we pay for as a district,
As a general policy.
as a
In
general.
other words, it
No,
would
I-
be free.
I think we should do a test. I amend that to make it like
she
one
said,
test thing.
Have an open
You
house.
can't have just offer one person to use it, no.
No, okay,
You need to find out what the cost would be.
okay,
You
Do
can't
some
make a
mathematical
decision
modeling.
on cost.
based upon the figures.
right.
And see
I guess we need more
what
information
we can
then.
use out
Well,
and
you haven't
not.
ever done anything like that to figure out how.
We can talk offline about that and kind of discuss some of the variables.
Okay, that's fine.
I have a motion that we do this. Anyone want to second it? Guess not.
All right, we're on C.
No, but
Report,
can you put some contingencies that maybe it could be done if the numbers show that they're feasible?
Well, the
Yeah.
action item would be that Kevin is looking into the numbers and he'll report back.
So has that been noted as the action item?
she says he's working with her.
It's getting done.
Here's going down. Report of any new programs.
Nobody seconded my motion.
Because
We're on the new.
I do
They
not,
don't wanna do
We're
I
on
wanted
the-
to get more information
Oh,
first.
Whatever.
I think,
Yeah.
I
All right,
need to
okay.
I need to have more information.
You have something here on C, which I'm saying for the third time. Report on any new programs.
Yeah, what's that about?
I didn't put that on there, okay? That's not my thing. Sophie had the program things. I didn't. And I will waive that.
Okay.
And I think poor Ashtok, who's been here for what, 3 hours?
3.5 hours.
Okay, but I would like to get.
Yeah,
to it.
let's do lap swim.
I would like to get to it.
Lap swim discussion. Would anyone like to talk about lap swim?
Yeah, you're supposed to.
We're not supposed to tell you.
We sort of had talked about laps.
So, go ahead.
I mean,
You need to offer evening hours.
I do, yeah, I do agree. I heard that there are people at Fremont that they have to turn people away there because there aren't enough lanes. And I really think that we can take that opportunity to have people swim here and have enough people do it to actually offset the cost of what it would be to have someone watch over the pool.
And the lifeguards are already here.
And we should add, yeah, exactly. So,
Yeah, we can look at the numbers together. Generally, the 5 lanes that we have accommodates only so many swimmers. One of the structural differences between Fremont Pool and ours is that you have 2 lifeguards, which is the minimum number of lifeguards you need to do the rescue.
You have 3 here.
If I may, you have 2 during lap swim, and that means that your income is limited, but your expenses are the same regardless. And they can guard 5 lanes, they can guard 10 lanes, they could even guard 15 lanes. So what I'm saying.
they're invisible.
What I'm saying is that our lap swim program does not and will not make money unless we radically increase.
We're a
the fee.
nonprofit. We don't have to make money.
Could you for a while stop doing the morning laps and just have evening?
Some people would have our heads, but we could do both.
Okay, well, those people that are doing it in the morning don't work anyway, so they can come in the evening. You're not letting any working people come.
Actually,
That's what you're doing.
We did have at least a couple working people who were showing up before work because they had flex hours.
Well, but
So
that's,
if
you
I
know.
may,
Morning, evening
we
is definitely
did
more than evening.
actually have lap swim hours in the evening briefly in, I believe, 2013.
I saw that. There was a document about that.
And what happened was we had maybe 1 or 2 people showing up, and it didn't work. So
Maybe it'd be better now.
Was
with some
advertised?
outreach.
Yeah, with some
we would be
outreach.
happy to look at it again. That's not what we're saying. But again, it just has to be planned out and thoroughly thought through. That's all.
Because it may mean
Could you try
canceling
it
some
on a
other
trial
programs that the
basis?
public is already participating in.
I think maybe after we do the outreach and people know about us, that would be prime time. So certainly,
Yeah.
but just
If you
Once we
have
have
it
a good
at
plan.
night during the winter, a lot of maybe lap swimmer people that really are into it. And we already have 3 lifeguards and a coach here during those hours. And the swim team comes in drooping like there's 2 or 3 kids in that pool often. So we could offer lap swim during those hours.
For
And
3
the
lanes,
lifeguards are
correct?
already here, and the coach is already here, the program manager is already here. So I don't know why that's a big problem.
we
It
did
seems
that.
like everything you want to do has to be this really difficult thing that requires studies and numbers
called
and all
government.
kinds of stuff that, it's just extra bureaucracy and stonewalling. Why wouldn't you just want to do this stuff? I'm
I
not,
think he's saying that
I'm the
you
kind of
try.
person that likes to get things done.
I mean, we can try again. It's just that If we do allocate more hours to lap swim, we're gonna have to cancel some other programs that are
No,
already.
you don't. There's no
staffed.
program here in the winter.
We have our swim team during the hours that I think some people would run lap swim.
Um,
And there's 12 kids in the pool during that time, every time I've seen it, not
There's
great.
well, I
So-
come by here in the nighttime walking my dog and I see 2 or 3 people in
And
that
I always see
pool.
12
I
when it's
see
within
three-
half an
I
hour of
see
opening.
3 lifeguards and the coach is in the office looking at a computer screen.
So,
Could you at least do some weekends?
I was
Yeah,
gonna
we
say,
can-
we
we can
can,
look
what
at
about a
different
weekend
hours.
thing?
so
I want to recognize
my
person in the
concern
back.
with, oh, sorry.
Thank you.
Oh.
After you,
My
Kevin.
concern is making sure that the program has steady hours throughout the year. So let's say we do PM lap swim hours. What happens in the summer, right? So if maybe the public's okay with no lap swim hours in the summer, because then we have swim team and swim lessons at the same time. If you've ever seen it, it's ridiculous.
We'll just have it
So,
for winter.
So,
We'll see
but
what
these are
happens.
things that we'd have to look at what hours, who would do it, when, so on. And of course, Emily's,
Thank you.
So I am the swim team coach.
Yeah.
And I see where you're coming from about giving some lanes. However, so let me break it down. 4 to 5 is a really busy time because like there's a lot of kids who don't have.
Could you
access
come
to
up here and stand, because you can get in the microphone and be heard better?
Mine does 6 to 8.
Oh no, I have like a bigger point. I'm getting to it. And then so 5 to 6 is kind of a dead zone because that's like traffic. Kids are like getting in and out of programs. 6 to 7, there's a lot more kids. So if we were to do like 2 lanes for laps or whatever, that's fine. We can work with it. But the coaches wouldn't be able to lifeguard that because we're already focusing our energy on making sure that 30 kids aren't going to drown.
Are these 30 kids at the Oasis school though, or
No,
are
no,
they
they're
just
rich.
the
They're
swimming
rich.
But that's in the summertime.
No,
Have it in the winter time.
it's not summer.
No, come
Well,
on.
I'm talking winter. So
This winter,
You check and find out how many kids are in that pool
4
on
to
a
5,
nightly
we
basis.
average about, let's say 20 to 25 kids.
I've
And the
never
cool
seen
months, like the
25
first 2
kids.
weeks of December,
Do you have a sign-in sheet?
we have
We do.
attendance. We do
We
have
drop down.
Can you show that
10
to us?
15 swimmers because it's fall. 5 to 6, we do average like 3 to 10 swimmers. I will admit to that. You make a point, and I know that's when you show up normally. However, 6 to 7, that is our busiest hour, and we hit anywhere between 20 to 30 kids in the winter for that time.
That's not true.
I
can
mean, what
show
about
you
7 to
7
9?
to 8, because
7 or
Fremont
8.
Fremont
I'm
runs,
totally okay with
Fremont runs
that.
extended
Yeah.
hours, you can look at their website,
And you
it
could
takes
probably
8
be hired
seconds.
to
They
go
run early morning hours in the summer and or later evening.
Do you have a sign-in sheet that shows how many kids show
We
up
do,
on
we
a
have a
nightly
sign-in.
basis?
So
Do you have a sign-in
We
sheet?
do, we have a sign-in
Okay,
sheet
could
for
you
every
show it to
Our
us?
wonderful accounting and records manager.
And we could
keeps that
see it.
record.
Yeah.
Excuse me?
Sunny keeps it. She keeps the
Yeah,
record.
I don't.
Well, can you show us?
So you can.
Yeah.
Can you show us the sign-in sheet so we know how many people in the swim team are coming during the winter?
Does the
That would
board
be good.
track?
And what time they come and what time they leave?
I want to know if this center tracks in any way at all for any activities, how many residents of the area versus non-residents are using the facilities.
We have that.
Because I think, given what this is, it's not actually a commercial swimming pool. It's not. It's supposed to be a recreational center of some kind. Also has a pool. Therefore, there should be some recognition, some kind of a vision that the primary purpose of this maybe is not to make money, not to be a swimming school for kids, whoever they are, but maybe the primary preference should be given to the residents, what they need, whether it's a swimming school, that's fine, but have you found out that?
So,
So we cannot say, we can't have lap hours because the commercial school that we are, apart from Oasis,
I think he was
they
gonna
need the
answer.
hours, you can't do that. What's the vision of community?
Let's listen to what he has to say.
I've lost it. There was a lot in there.
Because the original purpose
Well,
of
so
the
the kids on the
original-
swim team, do they live here? Or are they
Yeah,
outside?
so we do keep that
Are they
information.
tracking
us?
We have that information for our swim team and for swim lessons. For obvious reasons, public swim, we don't track people's addresses. Generally, it's on a drop-in basis.
But you would know by the rate they pay, right?
I'm sorry?
You would know by the rate that
Yeah,
they
so
pay.
residents generally self-identify, but other than that,
You don't check their ID?
sorry?
You don't check their ID?
Yeah, we do. So when they say I'm a resident, we check.
So you would have a
Yeah.
way of tracking therefore how many people they
Yeah.
actually use the pool or the center, whatever
Well,
it is.
Not for public swim, like I was saying, but for lap swim where we have a form and for swim lessons where you would register.
I think I would like the information on that. I'm gonna send you a separate email, but I would like information.
We could- yeah,
Something you should
definitely.
track.
Because the original purpose of special districts is to serve the population that's paying for,
Certainly.
you know?
Right.
That should be number one always.
Absolutely.
That's common sense,
And so-
apart from.
Yeah.
So that's
No,
one of the
no.
reasons why we subsidize a lot of the programs that don't make money. So
By $1.
no.
More than that.
No, so for each lap swimmer that comes in, the last time I checked, it was $5 that the district subsidizes. So the lap swim program is not one that makes money. And this board over here has increased that by 25% in the last couple of years. So it's not that the board doesn't understand. I'm sorry, I'm speaking on behalf of the board here, but
Maybe you should not. I would like them to
But they're the
respond
ones
at
who
least
did it.
one thing they're asking them.
I mean, that's fine.
They have
but
not so far.
Also, I mean, there's so much in taxes, it's like $500,000 a year, and then you look at the balance sheet and there's like millions of dollars in cash sitting on.
right. So part of this.
The administration is getting over $300,000 of that on salaries and benefits. So that's where a lot of that money goes. And I think it's too much, but that's my opinion.
So if you look,
We already looked at a place and we went to a place that he compared with, and it was a whole, like a citywide special district because they don't have a Parks and Rec. They paid their manager $99,000 a year. She manages two facilities and 4 pools. And that's what she gets $99,000 a year for. Plus she has a degree in Parks and Rec. And she also runs not just the aquatics, other programs. So she's doing a lot for $99,000.
Okay.
So that was the comparison that we found.
to answer your question about the money on the long-term area there, we wanted to address the future needs of the residents. And that includes preparing the facility for the long term. Obviously, our lap swimmers, like you, really want to have an outdoor pool. And there's many people who also need swim lessons. And those two water temperatures, as you know, are not the same. So part of the long-term master plan is to determine what the residents want in the long term and to prepare the finances for it, because we can't get a bond here. We're not going to get
Right.
a loan. So we have to prepare the money in advance, which is what we've been doing.
Should we also have though, like, we should have a long-term plan, but shouldn't we also have a current plan? Because I almost feel like there's not a current plan.
Not serving the
We have
community
heard
now.
Right. So
But I mean, to serve the community, I
Sure.
feel like that's
Yeah.
like kind of like a need that's not being met. Like, of course, we need to plan for the future, but I think part of the problem that the community is finding out is that their needs aren't being met now.
which is why the committee and setting the outreach is so important, because we've missed a critical element in our short term.
Now that's only we have made so much
But it's only
noise.
because we came and started making racket.
Yeah, I mean, to
Yeah,
realize that,
Yeah, no,
that
it's-
should
it's
be-
not-
Oh gee, they're
Yeah.
screaming, we'll give them a crow.
yeah.
That
does not.
always
exist.
should have been a priority of
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
It always should have been a priority of this.
Just look at how City of Sunnyvale is doing it. Like,
Administration is getting 2/3 of the county money.
No, I'm
Why
sorry.
is that?
This board has displayed a shocking poverty of imagination when it comes to what communities need, who lives here, what do they need. For example, many people in this area these days, in the last 15 years, I would say, are immigrants from other countries who don't necessarily have swimming lessons when they're young. Therefore, maybe swimming lessons for adults is something we can do more of.
Right, I totally agree with that
You would know
too.
that if you knew this community. Or you could say, maybe they don't want swimming, they're not as interested in swimming, they're more interested in using the hall for other things. Maybe let's make this more available because they're not using the pool anymore.
Right, like Zumba.
Again, you would know this if you live here, if you talk to people, if you did a survey, if you did a open house, if you did a news center, anything. None of this has been done in the last 20 years. I mean, the board needs to answer to that.
We're all thinking.
Yeah, we
What
want
were
to
you
hear.
thinking not to ask?
We
What
want a
did you want?
response. This is common sense to
Why
ask
did it
someone.
not cross your mind for 24 years?
Oh,
It did.
It did.
When? And why did you do
2013.
Not
that?
since I moved here in ninety-two.
It was
Why
in
did you do anything
2013,
about
but,
it?
2013, you said something about residents?
so, we put out a survey. In retrospect, it was not as thorough as it should have been, and
You got a survey, where?
How many responses?
Was it
did you get?
online
it was online as well. It was online.
Online, so, but
I-
if nobody knows about that,
Right.
don't look
That,
online.
that's a
How
good
many
point,
guys
yeah.
did
Don't do that, I'm sorry, I'm nothing against you, but they should have known better. These people grew up before there was online, like me. You know you don't know it'll go online unless you know to go. So that's BS.
No, it's not.
You did not try to reach the community by the way that they would have been reached, so that they knew to
We
go
thought
online.
If you're
we thought we
interested
were,
in protecting
Well,
the
you-
and
board.
they never responded back.
Maybe that was part of the
Because
problem.
they didn't know.
That's fine.
All right, we
That's
covered
fine.
that,
That's
we're
fine.
we've covered that, we're moving on.
But we
Thank you for
covered,
your-
we covered.
I want to say thank you for this person who has,
Yeah.
who finally gets,
Steve.
sitting down for long.
who finally gets his time
So, are we
and has
ready
been so
for him?
patient.
Are we ready for him, or you?
Anyway,
I'm okay.
No,
No, this is your
This is
time
your
now.
time.
This is your time now.
Too late.
Well, they can stay. It's a public meeting.
Okay,
Yeah,
we've
it's a
reached the
public
point. Oh, hello. You want to make a comment? Thank you. Okay, we have one, Okay. sir, if you hold on a moment, we
Sure.
have one more comment and then we'll be ready for you.
Yeah, no, I'm probably, I can hold on for another hour.
No, but we have,
We appreciate that.
I'd
Yeah,
like
somebody
to
else wants
think-
speak.
I'd like to think we've gotten to the point in the agenda that we will be ready for.
Okay, yeah.
Thank you.
So just as a resident of Rancho, because that's what this really is about. And so I saved it comments for the end to try and make the most of what was going on. The first question I would ask though, so the attorney, are they able to pick a president tonight if they had a majority?
It's on the agenda.
Okay.
It is on the
But
agenda.
they won't vote for it.
Well, so,
They did vote. There was a
So-
vote.
we wanted that.
so watching what went on and the amount of disarray, obviously it's not a very productive environment. And so I think I'm hearing that there really is a lot of respect for someone up there, that if you were to hold a vote to elect a new president for the board, a lot of the disarray would go away. Otherwise, the next meeting is gonna have a continuation of what
Right.
you've got. So my first suggestion is, providing that they are allowed, then they should go ahead and nominate the person that they all feel would be a good president to move this pool association forward. And so,
That's why I nominated
But
Sophie.
yeah, there
We
was a
tried that.
nomination.
but I'm
Yeah,
saying,
yeah, yeah.
what transpired tonight, I think, showed a lot that now people the board may rethink whether they would be supportive and nominate and vote for somebody as opposed to at the beginning of the meeting. I think all the discussion and stuff. So I'll make that suggestion. If you say no, I'll go on to a second comment.
I mean, the question is can they revisit an action item that's already been discussed? And I think there could be some, it's not really being televised live because usually the public would have no notice and it's going to be discussed again, right? Because they've
That's why
already,
I'm addressing
right,
it
so that's
to
why it
you.
makes me a little uncomfortable.
We
But
discussed this last time.
But if the board, as it is on the agenda, I think if the board wanted to revisit any item and revisit their decision, they could do so. I think they probably could, yeah. But anyway,
So as a resident, I would suggest you revisit the nomination of somebody up there that could in fact be a good president going forward. And I think it'll work in everybody's best interest that things will move in a much more productive manner going forward.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
it's up to you guys to navigate that. You know, I'm not a board member. Somebody up there has to make a nomination.
I
Somebody
did.
has
I
to
nominated
second
Sophie. And they won't do it. They
No,
will not do it.
Don't
Two
do
people
that.
in the board, 26 years, 24 years, won't
So
vote for a
there's
new
been a
person.
nomination.
you know,
Does
you
anybody
can't-
want to second the nomination?
No.
And that's their right, they don't.
Yeah,
have to
right.
second it, you know.
They just,
Do you have other points?
they're
Yeah, so I do-
obstructionists.
It's only 4 years, they want one of them to be responsible.
So I do have another comment as a resident of Cupertino, this disarray. I think everybody wants the best for Rancho, everybody wants the best for Cupertino, and disarray is very counterproductive.
Right.
So at any rate, I've spent, for different reasons, a good amount of time with Jeff Milks of the Parks and Rec. He's the director over there. I went with him and we went to Blackberry Farm. He showed me his operation there. We went to the Cliffs Golf Course, showed me the operation there. We went to their other facilities, several of the parks. He showed me the operations they have there. They, in my view, they are a first-rate operation that this association could leverage their expertise. And so I'm suggesting that someone from the board spend time, preferably if somebody was the president, spend time, go and meet with Jeff Milks. I actually suggested it to him and he was very open to it. Go and meet with Jeff Milks and go over finances, rules, should people be allowed on the premises for purposes other than what is specifically intended for, appropriate wages, the type of outreach and marketing they do. All this stuff is standard protocol for them, and they're a first-rate operation. I think they would be willing to provide oversight. They could conceivably start with some oversight at this meeting, making sure that everybody was very respectful, things moved along. Meetings need to end at a particular time. They can't just be going on forever. What the qualifications should be for the staff, what the appropriate wages. I'm usually kind of shocked at how much people in Cupertino make. You know, I live here too, and so sometimes that suggestion, number one, you pick the president and pick somebody that you think would be a good leader for the community and the environment, all things considered. And maybe the attorney and some other people need to get involved to make that happen. Because if it's gonna be a stalemate 2-2 or something, you guys are forcing the entire community to suffer.
That's right.
If it's 2-2, you're forcing the entire community to suffer. So maybe that's the end of my comments. I stayed till the end to try and get the most since I haven't been to the meeting. 21 years on Rancho on Tilson Avenue. My kids and my wife and I come to the pool probably about 6 times each summer. And so we really like this place. And so we hope it's well run. So at that point, move on to.
I believe it is.
You believe it's well run?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
the one final comment.
Based on,
It's well run for you.
It's still like very content saying, I believe it is.
I
If the committee
appreciate
saying
your
something, it's all for nothing.
comments, and I have to agree with Hillary. I believe it's well run, and until, for some reason, in the last couple of weeks in November, all kinds of questions were raised, all of which should be raised because we're a public entity. And there's a lot, and we've become aware that there are a lot of people who disagree with the direction of our district's been going in, even though over the years, they've all been happily using it. That we know. We have very few complaints. We've never had any accidents. So from a point of view of public safety and providing recreation, I do believe we have been well run. However, because we are a limited facility, we've never been able to address all the needs of the community all the time. But we are learning from the participation this time around, and I've seen it happen 3 times in my time on the board, when a whole bunch of people came for a few months and some stayed. And they became board members. That Obviously, there are many people in our service, what we think of as our taxable area, who feel that they didn't realize we were here. That's a complaint we've heard since I've been on the board from time to time. And we have done outreach. And evidently it hasn't reached everybody. So I'm glad to see that we have some ideas on how to reach out again, because it's something that needs to be continually done, because turnover in the neighborhood in the years I've been here has been at least 50%. And people move in, and when they first revamped this facility in order to grant access to Barrington Bridge, the guys who were selling Barrington Bridge homes told them, oh, this is your clubhouse. And a little sign that was this big out there on the wall that's still there, I believe. People ignored. They didn't realize, it's been here since 1956. And I've been castigated for being on the board for too long. And the only reason I've been on the board for, quote, too long.
Do you have a point?
I'm getting to it.
We listen to you.
I listened to you. Is because no one else was willing to step up in all those years. Now there are people willing to step up. And I'm glad to see it, because the more involvement, the better. And with the more input, the better we can all serve our community. We as a board are being advised against for the first, both of your points, by legal counsel, because obviously there's a split in this board between those who think it's totally messed up and those who think we're doing a fairly good job. And those two opinions haven't been able to come to grips yet. And that's why we have not been able to elect a slate of candidates for the last two meetings. I'm hoping at the next meeting that can change. But if it doesn't, the law, as I understand from her boss that I was quoted, is that until we can agree on a president, the current officers serve until that happens. And so we can continue to do normal business.
It's very convenient.
When I joined the board, we only had pool hours 2.5 months of the summer, and the rest of the time the pool was not used, period. This facility was used, the hall and everything. And under our current administration, that's been extended to, I believe, 10 months.
It's 8 months.
8 months of the year, and for some parts of it to 10 months. And we only close the pool for a couple of weeks a year. City of Cupertino, I worked with their previous director to look at why couldn't they open the same facility, even better facility in Blackberry Farm for 10 months a year, because of a restriction by one of the neighbors saying, you can't have those cars going by my house. So she shut it down to only 2 months a year. And that's why they're only open 2 months a year. Hopefully the new board members from Better Cupertino who've been elected will be able to break that log jam, because we have a great facility over there that also belongs to the city.
Yes.
But when this place was started, it was in answer to the fact that the original seller and builder of these homes promised a meeting facility and a pool, and he reneged. So they took him to court, went to the state legislature, and created this district. Back then, you're right. Every house contributed maybe about $50 because they were, $7 houses, whatever the ratio is for the 5% or whatever. Now the disparity is between houses that are assessed at $100,000 or $200,000 and $2.5 million, I believe, and approaching 3. So the amount being contributed is greater, and board policies of giving discounts for using the facility to residents by showing ID haven't kept pace with that huge disparity. And one of the problems I had with the suggestion we had earlier about just going ahead and opening it up for free is that to all residents, just free things is we have procedures to make sure that the facility is not run rampant over. It doesn't get tagged all the time. We still get tagged 6 times a year. So there's a lot going on here, and on the first glance, it looks like, some people believe it's been horribly mismanaged, but I'll stand by our audits and the number of people we're able to serve a year that we weren't able to serve 5 years ago. We are open much more, and we provide more programs, and we're trying to grow those. Now, I've also been castigated because I don't represent a quote minority group, and that's another reason I shouldn't be on this board. I've also been castigated because I'm handicapped and I have to stand because it's very painful for me to sit for more than a few minutes. So I shouldn't serve on the board because some people think that intimidates. I'm sorry you feel intimidated. It's the last thing I want to do. I must say is that
That's completely unnecessary. I speak the English language, you've heard me speak English language, you can stick to hello, sorry, that's enough.
so.
Namaste.
There's a lot I can say,
A lot of people say that,
but it's not on the agenda item right now. And hopefully I can answer other people's questions. Some false statements were made about me on Nextdoor. I feel uncomfortable having to justify the fact that I have voted, paid taxes, and resided in the same place since 1976, I believe.
According to the tax assessor.
And according to the tax rolls, you have to give them an address to send the bill to. I have owned both houses in Cupertino, free and clear since both my parents passed away years ago. So I have them send the bills over there, but I've continued to vote here. Right now I'm remodeling my house. That's why I don't, quote, live in it.
This one?
Yes. It needs major repair, but I do all my own repairs, so I'm really slow. I'm just one engineer working on things. So meanwhile, when I filed for office, like she did, I had to sign a statement saying, yes, I live here. Half of my crap is in that house. I come here every day, at least once,
But you don't
most days,
sleep there.
twice.
For residency, that's what it counts.
And then that's what counts is I'm there. And so
You're
I'm
not there.
You're not be like that.
I'm there frequently enough. So
No.
anyway, I'm
Steve,
tired.
you said you were happy that COVID comes to the study.
So anyway,
No,
I
no.
think I've gone on long enough. I know I can't convince you that I belong here serving my community as I have for 26 years. And,
You're not serving if you don't communicate.
but
And if
we,
you make it so that you're appointed instead of elected, because nobody
Yeah.
runs against you.
no.
Not
That's
just that.
just the way it
In this very
started.
meeting,
No.
That's
in
what
this very
that
meeting,
does.
you
No,
have-
Every
you have
year,
refused
every
to
4
vote for
years,
Sophia
we
and
have to
brought people
refile for
Right. If
candidacy.
there aren't more people running than there are openings, it's not an election, it's an
That's true.
appointment by the county supervisors, and that happened for the last 10 years, until this year.
Right, what I'm
So you
saying,
have
what I'm
incentive
saying
not
is
to
I have
communicate
filed
with
for
the people.
public office, just like every other candidate, like Sylvia, like Sandra, and in the other 2 off years.
And if you put
And
your
like her-
Johnson Avenue address, you're relying on a federal form, or on.
I don't believe I am, but that's
Well,
another
I think-
issue.
I think maybe somebody would think you were.
It's another issue.
Just
Not
say
just that,
approval.
in this very meeting, you just said that there are more people now, as if you think it's a good thing, but they got here because of Sophia and Sandy, and you refused to vote for Sophia in this very meeting. The
No.
only person who has brought more people to the meeting than you have.
It's not that I refuse to work with you.
You did not vote for the other votes.
I
Both
what?
of you, you've been 24 years, 26 years, and you refused to recognize a new person on the board,
There-
who's actually from the community. You are not. My goodness,
My,
how is this
my
okay?
personnel issues can only be discussed in closed section, and that is where I'd like to discuss that issue. Not in front of a combative audience, because I have my reasons, and I don't feel I have
We
to.
can guess what those are, what I'm saying.
Reasons
No.
for wanting to stay on the board, or reasons for going in the pool alone? I could-
Or reasons for not voting for a person, new person who's officially
Oh,
president.
that too, okay.
I'll
I
just
mean-
make one last comment. I think by electing a president tonight, you, and Sandra, who's stepped out for a few minutes, would all greatly benefit from the support.
I agree.
But not picking a president tonight will continue the problem. So it's
For one more
truly-
meeting.
It's truly your choice. I personally would make a choice in an instant.
Why one more
that-
They don't want her, that's
What
what
difference
they
does
want
one
one of them to
voting
be
have?
president.
Right.
Leave 24 years, 26 is not enough for you. You still want to be president.
Why does one more meeting matter?
Does it need to be a pride thing?
I can't answer that in open session, I'm sorry.
Oh, classified information.
I think we need to discuss it among the board.
Just so you know, we won't be discussing election items like that. That's not a proper subject for closed session.
Oh,
So
okay.
Just so you know, yeah.
So I'm on, okay.
But
So I'm not
there's,
worried.
if there's legal advice that's needed, you can do it, there's a different, the proper mechanism. That's fine, yeah.
One of my reasons was I wanted our 5th board member here to put her wisdom in too.
You don't have one now.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do.
But
That's-
and I didn't know that
Yeah.
until an hour before the board meeting. Because that's when
And
she
you have no
resigned.
place.
no matter what somebody says about, they knew about it 5 weeks ago. I didn't know about it until an hour before the board meeting.
Because if you put off deciding how you're gonna address it, it just makes us distrust you more.
No, I wanted her input because she's a valuable member of the board too. And we act in
That's
collegiate
not what I'm talking
as a
about.
board.
You
We
need to
can't,
decide how
we
you're
are
gonna
5
address the
individuals who
base.
have to work together and have to learn to work together, even when we disagree on even basic issues in some cases. Because that's the way boards work. Public boards have to work together. And that's what, we were addressing in our last
Can
case.
you tell the straight face? You have not been working together. You're not fighting like crazy. I've never seen this kind of dysfunctional meetings. I've been a very
I've seen
different-
worse. I've seen worse.
Well, I mean, lucky you, but I have never seen, this is so bad.
It is very bad.
And you still saying, go to work together, you think you make me better by not voting for Sophia today? We have noticed that you have refused to vote for her. Even the tradition apparently is that the new member would actually get to be president.
Yeah, John.
You still preserve your vote on the board, why can't you vote for her?
All right.
Because you want to be president one more time, or you want Marian to be president one more time?
It doesn't
Why?
need to be a pride thing, let's do what's best for the community, that's what John
Well,
just
anyway,
said.
so that's,
It doesn't
Can we
need to be a
move to
pride
closed
thing.
session?
no, it's, I think it's the great guy.
The drape guy's been waiting here for
Oh,
4
right.
hours.
Yay.
I really think we need to give him his time because he was so patient with us.
He was being entertained.
All right, so let me give Blue's back. Okay, obviously, someone decided that it's time for you guys to change these curtains, and they've been they showed me some were ripped. So I was approached by Sandra to bring some samples and styles. So I came here and met with her and some other lady that was an office manager or something. Sunny, right. Okay, and I showed them different styles. So they finally decided that they want the roller shades. That's what they have in the office, okay? So they didn't want to make choice of color and fabric, and they say if I can bring the samples to show to the board and see if they agree on something. So I brought the samples, so I was gonna show you guys to make a selection.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
all right.
Great.
This is, like, she asked for a price, so I just gave her a price based on certain things. Okay, so that's not, so it's all dependent on what you guys choose. So this is what I gave her a price for. Okay, they wanted it opaque, so you don't, nobody can see, because the Sunny was saying that they had these light filtering thing, people can see in. Then they had to put another curtain in front of it to block it. Okay, so they chose something that you don't see out. Okay. So they're different, a lot of different colors.
So are these dust resistant?
Okay, they basically all the most of the product they have been coated with the anti-static coating,
Okay.
so they don't attract dust.
Oh, okay, I
But
see. But you
right,
still have to
Just
like
so it
wipe them.
falls on.
Right,
If it
right,
falls on,
right,
it's gonna,
Right,
it's not gonna,
right. It won't repel the dust, but
but
yeah,
they won't
okay,
attract it.
gotcha.
So there's a lot of selections.
With this item, these are the color choices?
Yeah, for this particular fabric, those are the color choices.
And then they're like just.
Okay.
pulled,
Yeah, you can, then there's the different styles to how to operate them. You can use a cord to go them up and down, or you can use it without a cord. Yeah, they were saying they sometimes had the children facilities there and they pull on it. So they kind of chose on it without a cord. They call them cordless. So you can actually.
He's been sick.
So what?
Oh.
You don't have a cord.
Okay, yeah.
No, you just use a hand to go up and down.
Oh,
So it just touch like.
so now the kids will just use their hands and move it.
Yeah, like if they're high enough for them to.
Oh, if you have out of their reach, I see.
And then we're gonna get the sticks, so when they're up, you can use them to bring them down. So that's, those are the safety features that we offer without the cord for a lot of times, the kids, they kind of wrap around and then get strangled with them. So
And he
there's
did all
safety.
the measurements and he
Yeah, I've
spent
done the
about a year and a
measurements.
half, an hour and a half with Sunny and I. And showed us And I have a bid here.
These are actually really nice.
Yeah.
They're a lot of different styles, so it's just kind of a, I got a box of that.
Oh, that's fancy.
Yeah, they're fancy and, simple.
So will this
you
work
gave a
for
bid
us?
for this?
Huh?
You gave a bid for this?
Yeah,
That's what
they
you're-
just chose one, yes.
Okay.
I personally don't like patterns, but that's just
There you
me. I like these better.
Yeah.
Um,
We have some, plain.
They're also not opaque.
Oh, those are not opaque?
You can see right through them.
Oh, yeah, those are not
Right,
there.
yeah.
Yeah, that's the other.
Yeah, I just
distinction.
wanted to,
So Kevin, based on all the years we've got of the drape mechanisms we've got, will the non-cordless work with less damaging?
Yeah, there are
Non-cordless
little
is this one
colors.
where you just pull it out.
Yeah.
It should work, but there's a lot of variables, like whether the line is on the outside of the wall. or
Yeah, I
if
was
it's
thinking that's
recessed
exactly
into
the
it.
color I was
Oh,
thinking.
into the frame.
neutral color.
Yes, yeah, and then we also
I
do the
don't
same
know.
fabric on that door. These ones here need fabric that's, you can kind of see through.
Lightly.
And then,
Which is
You
actually
get
good.
dirty, I know, that's
yes,
that's a.
yeah, absolutely.
Because then people can see somebody's in
Yeah.
here for a public
Right.
meeting,
I
especially.
see what
And then those cell shades up there, they were just installed, but they're just not good, so we should probably think about those.
So that wasn't a very good decision on that.
For whatever reason, they're just not holding up very well,
They're
so we could probably
different,
still get another 5 years out of them.
blackouts.
beyond that.
Do you have something similar to this
Yeah,
with
these are
other
black.
color choices?
Not really big on patterns. This is nice though.
Are you sticking with this color?
I think the problem is coloring.
This carpet's fairly new, so it's probably gonna be around for a while. Plus, we can also replace it one
Right.
panel at a time.
I used to come with like these, all these details.
I don't know, this gray is nice.
Exactly,
Yeah.
Have low, medium, high. If you want to get fancy, you want to, no problem.
Oh,
I'm saying just like, here's a curtain.
right, yeah.
I
kind of see where you're
sort of.
You need something that's kind of like between this and a little like lighter than this.
Or
A little darker than that, yeah.
darker than that.
I can
We're
see
not
that.
really coming up with the coloring.
Would there be less heat gain with the lighter tan
Yes, it's not gonna absorb as much heat.
and less fade?
No, they have basically been, UV treated,
Yeah.
so they're not gonna fade from the sun.
Okay, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's.
That's what I was thinking, there's less heat gain and
Right.
less fade with this color range, which you also have there in the middle.
This one,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, it's the third one up from the bottom.
the fabric
No,
is not
number
gonna,
four,
Oh, this
the
one?
third. Yeah, that's, I think
Oh,
that's
sorry,
the
this
same
one.
as-
all these fabric, they're not gonna fade.
Yeah, actually, that one's fine.
Hey, you're right, because we just tried.
Yeah,
That's true,
that's
yeah.
actually a good idea.
Well, more what it is, the one color highlights some of the color in here, but
And
it's.
it's neutral on the back too.
My understanding was this was
Doesn't
meant to
see
be-
through it.
Yeah, that would
No, this,
actually,
everything I gave you, the blackout.
yeah,
And
See
I
that
actually
too.
like that.
So-
Information.
Our alternate choices, how would they differ from?
They're not
the-
gonna differ much. Basically, the way the price varies, the different type of the fabric, where they came from. These fabric come from a different part of the world.
I like
So,
this one too.
Yeah, I really like this one.
So
I think it
I
works
really,
well.
I think
would
so
this
too. I
fit
think-
in
With everything
that?
else.
Totally agree.
well, we're pretty close to it. And that's basically, once you guys decide, I'm gonna send another bid.
Right.
Right.
I
The
see.
actual
I really
product.
like, I really like that one,
I
actually.
actually
That you,
Yeah.
that was a good one to pick.
Hey, that makes the
really
majority of us
good.
who like that one.
That
I
is
really
actually
like
pretty good, I
That-
think Sunny
I-
would like that.
I like it.
That's the majority.
I gotta use
This-
the bathroom, I'll be right back.
Yeah. Um, if-
Yeah,
And
they're-
these are,
What do you want to suggest?
we haven't seen the proposal at all, and that's kind of an
That's
important
true.
bit.
I was gonna make it.
Yeah,
Said he was
yeah, like I said,
gonna
I'm gonna send another, once it's, see, it's kind of hard
Process, I
unless,
get it.
yeah, unless you guys really know what you want.
Well, how much do you think it might change over what we have now? Percentage?
5-10%.
5-10%, all right.
Because
That's
you
standard.
included those doors, is that it?
No, I didn't include those.
Okay.
So they're include, they're itemized in there. This window, that window, this patio door, those two windows, and this door.
So how does that work? There's a, how big are the blinds? They go from
Yeah,
where to where?
There's gonna be inside mount.
Oh, inside now.
Yeah. So
Is that
there'll be
okay?
blind,
There's some
You know, like-
inside now.
yeah,
Well,
so there will be a one blind, this white, and there will be another blind for.
So.
so that window there would be like two
Two of
shades.
them, yeah, two windows.
2 cents.
We did it inside mount in the office. Aesthetically, it looks good. The only issue is there's a little bit of a gap on the side.
So we,
And that would
we have a
eliminate.
solution for that, so if
nice.
you don't want, so basically what they have now is, they have the site,
Oh, like a little rail.
Right.
Oh, that's cool.
like that. So that goes behind it when it comes in the front.
So where did you
don't
find
get
him?
light.
I just went online and I found him and I found the shade store. And
So,
they came in considerably higher.
You
But
gotta,
I couldn't get the bid because it was sent on a link and I don't have a printer. So I came down and I tried to get it and it was in error again. And I had to call, I had to email her twice to get the links. And then they came up on my, for the bids, they came up on my laptop. But when I came down here, it's an error again. So I would, the cheapest, they have A, B, and C price range. And the cheapest thing, they did it for three shades. Their low price is 600 something a shade. And the other one, the next one, the B is 900.
this was this
And then
other,
the next,
yeah, it's a different nut.
A is over 1,000.
okay.
So, and like, and they have the same, pretty much the
Oh,
same
like,
Graber, I guess Graber or whatever it is.
Yeah,
They
so
have-
this is Grabber and there's the Norman.
Yeah,
Okay, Norman is made in China, so it's less expensive. And the Grabber is made in Mexico, which is a little more expensive.
Was there a yellow?
And we,
and they're,
we have a
the
hundred
shade
of us.
store is pretty commercial, and
But I mean, like when you found him, it was.
they have
you
a
saw it-
showroom in Palo Alto,
Who? Not
the
him.
shade store.
Okay, but I
So-
mean, when you selected him, there were Yelp reviews or?
There-
Yeah,
I mean, there must be
I
all
have
kinds of
what
these
they, I
companies
have
that-
what they sent me, and I can bring it, but it was a lot more expensive.
No, I'm
Yeah,
just
she's
wondering that
asking,
him,
how did you
I
choose us?
chose him, his Yelp thing was good. I mean, there must be many shade stores, right? So I'm just curious
Yeah,
about.
they
he
have
looked
one in
good,
the
people said good
Stanford
things
Shopping
about him.
Center. They have one in the Stanford Shopping
I can
Center
ask him.
and one in Palo Alto, somewhere
But maybe
on the
He
university.
has some sort of ratings, you know.
They
like
what?
some sort of rating somewhere, like Yelp or something like that.
Well,
Oh,
I'm-
yeah, we are on Yelp.
Uh-huh.
We do have the reviews on it, but not that, but we've been in business for the last 4 years. We started late 2015.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
So we do have the Yelp reviews, okay?
Okay.
And, we're on Google.
We have, oh, this is your card, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right. Were there any others you like?
No, I actually really like that one that you picked out. All the other ones,
Yeah.
I really like that
haven't
one.
met-
Yeah.
Well, I don't
There,
know about.
yeah, like I say, if you want a separate bid from a different, yeah, like, 'cause I know it's a commercial property, so you're,
And
What's the
I liked
color?
Ash Tuck because he came here, he's local and less expensive.
yeah, our prices are, we're still in the process of, building a customer base. So our prices are,
Oh, right,
believe me,
competitive, yeah,
oh, yeah, because we
Yeah.
don't have any overhead,
right, right.
okay? We own the business.
So with the shade store, I think we're paying for a lot of overhead.
Yeah, oh,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
good.
That seems
Maybe
like
answer your
opaque.
question,
I
Bill.
don't think
Yeah.
they went opaque for this.
I think with the shade store, we're paying
okay.
for a lot of overhead
Do you want to
that he
change?
doesn't have.
Okay. What did you think of that pattern?
I'm agreeable to what everyone else wants.
Yeah.
I saw everything before.
I just don't want to hear about it later when we choose.
But you're part of the board.
I'm-
Omar, I
Yeah,
don't want
but
any
yeah.
listening to you. I didn't choose that.
Whatever the rest of you decide is
Okay.
fine with me.
And we're not gonna hear that I didn't pick that one.
What?
We're not gonna hear, I didn't pick that one.
No, of course not. I
Okay.
don't do that.
Really?
I
Okay.
don't do that.
If I may, would it be possible that we get a quote to replace some of the windows at the same time? Because some of these are, this is like a plastic, so it's kind
Well,
of,
also, it's like not a double
it's
pane.
not double pane.
It's not, yeah, upgrading it to,
So if we're gonna do that, then we should probably,
so that way it would be okay to do the inside mount because we will have appropriate glassware.
I can bring it for the next meeting. Just for these windows and those ones there. We'll leave the sliding glass for now.
The other ones are already double pane?
No, but they're kind of more of a pain to replace.
Okay,
Yeah.
so do it in stages is what you're recommending.
This one you can do a retrofit.
So you have something else there, Sunny?
Oh,
Sunny
we
was
were-
here the day that he came, so we
Yeah, yeah.
kind of worked together.
I-
She
I
had
got
some
that.
we were
preferences.
concerned about the light, when you have the inner ones. Usually there's a little light gap, so what he's saying is that some of them have a rail on the side that blocks it. And this
Oh,
is
that's really
preferable, this is much preferable.
That's actually really So we can use these same curtains.
No, see, that's
Oh, it's
the
a different
normal.
one, okay.
That's normal, this one here.
So
Yeah,
if
that's
we
important.
want the gap covered, we
sorry.
need to choose from here.
Yeah.
And what
can
does this offer us?
Okay, the basically, what do you mean? It's
I mean, we
gonna
just-
have, this is
that's
gonna have the
all-
small gap on the edge. If you do inside if you don't want the gap, then you do outside mount.
So if you wanna see the gap, you can come into the office around 5 PM.
Oh, this is like kind of the gap you're talking
Yeah.
about.
so
Yeah.
because you've got
Yeah,
yoga
you need
area,
a clearance,
there's just
right?
gonna be a
Right,
minimum of light.
right.
Yeah, so you can't have the fabric rubbing against the wall.
So is there a color in here that matches?
Yeah, it is. He said this is the
The ones
one
we're
that,
looking
so
So
You
now we're in a.
prefer-
We could build our own rails. I mean,
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
but
like I
maybe
say,
that's the
you
just
point.
put a tape
If we're looking
tape
at
around the
windows,
back,
maybe
in
it's
the
better.
back.
good.
That's what
We
they
can
do.
make it a craft session.
There you go.
Okay, so don't worry about the rails, we'll figure
Yeah.
that out.
All right,
Yeah, we got it.
we,
That's
maybe,
That's the closest match I found,
okay, except
So
for Sunny's
if you want to.
pointing out that, if we, as Kevin said, we were looking at possibly changing the windows.
Right.
And in that regard, perhaps these would be able to size to fit.
The basically, the way they're gonna do the window, it's not gonna affect that, because they're not gonna change your opening.
No.
Okay, your opening is gonna remain the same.
So
Right.
is it your, Kevin,
Just
That's how they do it.
Well,
your
size is gonna remain the
recommendation to choose ones that have the, I mean,
Oh, no, it's okay, we can, if this manufacturer doesn't have it, we can make.
Yeah, if you like the fabric,
okay, because
Yeah, that's the
This-
fabric.
I don't know
I
what,
think it's good.
I really like it.
Sunny
It
likes
goes so
I
well
really
with
like
the,
it.
with the floor.
that's the one thing, yeah, that's why I want to make
Yeah.
sure that we kind of like
We
this
can-
one,
we
but
can build something.
if it's not gonna work for our windows, but that's not gonna restrict
I
us
think
then.
we should be okay.
so is there, what's about the light bothers you?
Oh,
It
it's
just-
not me, our yoga, people, the light would just directly in their face.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But it's okay, we can make a solution.
The other one thing I'd like to point out and see if we agree on is that those windows there, it would be better not to be totally opaque, I think,
Yes, yeah.
so that people can see in.
Right, yeah.
So we'll have to select another fabric for them.
Yes.
Yes,
Sorry,
it picks up off the light.
Do you have something in a similar that has a little bit of transmission, like 20% or less? Yeah.
Those weren't included in the.
Oh, they weren't?
No,
Oh, those weren't included, she
those
said.
were not
They
included.
didn't want it.
Oh, okay,
Because
okay.
this is what-
That's okay.
what you guys had on.
I didn't realize those weren't included.
But I don't think these colors would work.
No, I really like that one.
Yeah.
I don't
We
know.
need
I just,
something
I'm
that
feeling the
isn't gonna
love
fight
with
the
it.
rug.
It was more, yeah,
So
okay.
these are
I think
the
maybe we
light
made a
filtering
decision.
if you want for those doors.
Why waste time? We've come to a
The other
decision,
thing
is that
is,
correct?
we should probably do the windows before they put in the new drapes.
Yeah, like I said, it's, like, I don't know how.
So we need a cost for that,
What
Kevin.
your process goes on to change the window, I can wait. I'll give you the bid,
Yes.
you can decide, and then we can order it later, or you install it later.
Okay, so
So Kevin,
you're, yeah, if we decide on that, you're willing to wait until we can put that on.
Right.
Okay.
That's not a problem. I can, we can order it and wait, or we can order it later when you guys are ready, not a big deal.
Okay.
So,
We might want to wait then, like you said, for the.
yeah, so at least.
Will that affect the bid though?
Normally, no, it depends about how long you're gonna wait.
No, I'm wondering about if you're
Okay.
pricing on sizing and the.
No, you, like you said, the way I know how they do the window, it's not gonna change the size of the shades.
All right,
Because your opening is gonna remain the same.
okay,
Your window is gonna get a little bit smaller.
right,
Yeah.
okay.
But
with the double
the
pane,
frame,
Yeah.
you're right.
frame around the window is not,
That's true.
Okay.
so that's not gonna.
So I think we're in agreement on the choice for these drapes. And all we need to know is how much it's gonna cost to do the windows before doing the drapes.
Yeah, I can
But you're
bring
gonna-
all the bids, and I don't think it'll hold up anything.
Yeah, so I can
So
give
do we
you my
actually have
bid.
bids already, or
No,
we
no,
need
no,
to get bids?
I'm just saying that, yeah, we just
Okay.
have to get
Something-
bids. I'm assuming we're not approving anything tonight, right?
Yeah,
So-
not the windows.
I don't think I have enough brain power.
Yeah, I
So
understand.
is that
But what we would do is if
What-
if both are
what you guys
approved at the same
agree
time-
on?
When
So I
did you
can give you a
decide to
bid
get
for
new
the-
windows?
Yeah,
this one,
I
right?
would say give us the
When
bid
would
for
you,
that.
when
'cause
did you
we-
decide to
Yeah,
get?
get us while we can, agree.
That's, I'll send it
Just
to
now?
her and
Yes.
she can talk
I figured if
to
we're
you
gonna
on
do
your
this.
special meeting.
Are you connected to Kevin?
No, do you want me to?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
you
can
should.
say do. So if you could, especially we can work out some of the details as far as,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
especially
yeah.
with these.
Oh, this one, or do you want me to give you a bid for that one too?
Yeah, we can work that out. as well.
But he was saying for this one, you want the
It'll be a
light.
different kind,
No,
yeah.
Okay, do you want to choose that one? So I
Not
can-
right now.
Oh,
Not right
okay.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty late.
Yeah.
Oh,
We still
I-
have
I
another
know.
item to talk
Oh,
That'll
about.
be
so-
stage two.
All right, okay, so let me get
But
this
we'll
one
be in
out
touch,
and then I'll give you a call.
Please.
Do you
No,
want
we
to
make
see
it
the bid for the windows that he did?
Sure,
Yeah, so
Here
at
it
least
is.
gives you some idea.
yeah, some idea, because he said it'll change by no more than like 10%,
No, it's not.
Oh,
probably.
Okay,
Oh, that is reasonable.
yes.
Very
No,
reasonable.
like I say, people, they go to Home Depot and they come to us
Right.
to buy it. So
Yeah,
we
I
are very-
really want to see this one again. I really like this.
This is almost the fastest the board has ever agreed on a color. It's
Maybe we
usually,
should
it
do
usually
more
takes a lot
for the
longer than
animals.
that.
Okay, good. So can we, can you close?
Yeah.
Oh, that's what else closed session?
Here's.
Okay, all right, so
Time?
let me make sure I have all my stuff.
Can do that, Friday. We'll do that too, absolutely.
By the way, thank you for staying this whole
Bye.
time.
Yes, thank you so much.
I guess there's a closed session.
We're taking a 5-minute break and then we go into
Yeah,
closed
I was
session.
gonna say, I need a break for the back.
Yeah.
You wanna be in it?
Either one, my goal is as always functioning.
Exactly, and that's what we'll talk, I'll talk